Dynamite drop. Dynamite drop.
Sitting throwing rocks across the pavement, hoping it will cave in and swallow me whole. Wondering why my mind keeps on spinning. This isn't how living to me was told. Why am I like this? Something's always amiss. Can't put my finger on it, but it's there.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aspire Sports Show. I'm Tyler, along with my co-hosts here. We got Giggs, Ryan. So, Kyle, are you a part of it, or I'm not sure? But yeah, we are going to bring you a jam-packed show today. We got a lot of content here to cover to help you win your fantasy leagues, any DFS plays, any sports betting, whatever the case may be. So, before we start, I'm just going to give a quick rundown of injury news so far. And if there's somebody I'm missing, just let me know, guys. All right, so first we have Joe Mixon out. Steelers, really everybody fantasy wise significant is playing. I do want to say a couple things. The Bengals right now only 3 healthy cornerbacks in this game. They might be without 2 of their starting tackles in this game as well. Doesn't look good. Tyson Alualu's back for Pittsburgh. He's been out the past 2 games, and Pittsburgh have given up a lot of rushing yards, so he's a big part of that reason. Titans, not Titans. Texans, David Johnson's out. Nick Chubb is active for the Browns. Washington, I don't think there's really anything that's significant. Green Bay, Alexander is out. I think he's out. Has he officially been ruled out? I know last
Yeah.
day. Okay. So he's officially out. We have Philadelphia. Sanders is active today, along with Alshon's officially active too, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Alshon's active and Lane Johnson active. New York Giants. Freeman is officially on IR, so can't play for the next 3 weeks. They have a bye week next week, anyways. Tampa Bay. I will say, I don't think there's any significant injury news, but their flight last night got delayed for like 8 hours. They landed in where they playing? Carolina at it was like I forget what time it was. It was like 11:30, midnight last night. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. I don't think it affects it that much, but it definitely throws off the schedule of the team. Carolina, I don't think anything that significant. Chargers, Justin Jackson placed on IR. Dolphins, Matt Breida's not going today. Broncos, Jerry Jeudy. I think he's going to be active. Patrick, Fan, all active. Bills, nothing significant. Kenyon Drake, they feel good about him going, but they're going to test it out pre-game, make sure he's fine, so he's a game time decision. Carson out. Shaquille Griffin is also out for Seattle in the secondary, so has been out. Terrible secondary, even worse. The Rams, Henderson is expected to play. 49ers, Mostert, Debo out. Kendrick Bourne, Ayuk active. Ravens, I don't know if is Mark Ingram officially active? They haven't said anything unless
I
they
think
did.
he's playing.
You can bet on him, so I think he's trending of playing.
Okay. So then what about Julian Edelman as well? Is he playing?
I mean, look,
I don't think he is, but
All right,
we can check
we'll
again.
get that. Vikings, nobody significant, and David Montgomery is officially out with Allen Robinson listed as questionable for the Monday night game. I think that about does it. Anybody else that I forgot? Let me
Did
know,
we say
guys.
Galladay?
Oh, Galladay, yes, he's out. I don't think I talked about the Lions at all. So yes, Galladay's out. Hawkinson is active.
Yeah, he's
Yo,
playing.
all right. With that being said, let's go ahead. We're going to be talking about game. We're going to be going game by game. So first game we're going to talk about here. First game is going to be the Steelers versus the Bengals. All right. So Steelers versus the Bengals. I want to say this. Weather is going to play a big factor in today's games. The weather in a lot of these games does not look very good. In Pittsburgh, it looks like it's going to be rainy with 20-mile-an-hour winds. Not ideal. So Gio obviously is a solid play today, in my opinion, just based upon volume alone. I don't think it's that effective on the ground, but I do think he's going to be a good passing back. Which wide receivers out of all the wide receivers on both sides would you guys feel comfortable playing the most? Who, if you had to pick two, who are your two today?
I like Tyler Boyd out of the slot.
Pick one. Who are you playing?
I'm gonna stick with like I did last week. I'm gonna stick with Juju.
Okay. Giggs, what about you?
I like Juju, but I think this might be a Claypool game. So I'm going to go with Claypool for the Steelers. And I'm also on board with Tyler Boyd. It's like a homecoming game. He played at Pitt, so maybe he'll do what Miles Sanders did.
We got a question in the chat. We got Deontay Johnson or Marvin Jones. Who are you going today?
I'm a homer, so I'd go Marvin Jones.
Who are you going, Ryan?
I'm gonna go Marvin Jones.
What? I'll go Deontay Johnson. All right. Let's go ahead and just keep working through this then. So I think I would probably go Boyd as well because I feel like Pittsburgh's going to really get to Burrow and quick passes, a way to combat that. So I think Boyd, and I think it is going to be a Claypool game as well. I agree. I like Chase today. Let's keep going. So Bengals pass protection, right? I want to say this. This is now you might have, like I said, two starting tackles on the Bengals side not playing today. So that means, and this is before this news, Pittsburgh, this is like the biggest disadvantage I've seen ever. The Bengals have a 105% disadvantage in pass protection today by Pro Football Focus. That's like the biggest I've ever seen. That's before these two starting tackles might possibly be out. One of them is officially out. The other one we're waiting on news here. So that means massive disadvantage today, and I just think Joe Burrow is going to be running for his life personally. And you get Tyson Alualu back today as well, and it's not good. So let's go ahead real quick. Who would you play, Burrow or Ben, if you had to decide between the two?
Probably Ben Roethlisberger.
What about you, Giggs?
That's a tough one because I could see game flow not being in Big Ben's favor. And with the weather, I think it's going to be hard for the quarterbacks to put up their normal production. But I think I'm going to go with Joe Burrow because they're going to have to be passing if they're playing behind. And I think he's like second or third in pass attempts this year. So I like Joe Burrow in this matchup.
All right. I think I might go Ben because I'm obviously a Steelers fan too. Eric Ebron, is he in play as a tight end today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you guys looked at any bets for this game? I have a couple. I don't know. I got to check to make sure what the lines are for this game still.
I'll pull them up here.
Night.
I have them here.
It's -6.5 for the Steelers and over/under is 45.5.
Have you guys looked at any of the player props?
I have.
Is there any that you like for this game specifically?
Yeah, I like James Conner over for rushing and receiving at 92.5. I think this is going to be a big James Conner game. I think he's going to bounce back from last week. And then if you're looking at the Cincy side, I forget who it was. It was either Boyd or Higgins. Yeah, Higgins, I like over 4.5 receptions.
Ryan, what about you?
I'm looking at it right now, and I think I like Ben Roethlisberger under for passing yards. We talked about game flow being a factor, and then once if they have a lead, not needing to pass and it being a big James Conner game, his passing yards is set at 270.5, and I don't know how many. He hasn't been putting up a ton of passing yards, especially with the weather being a factor. I'm gonna look back to see his last few games as far as passing yards go, but I think I'd roll with under 270 passing yards for Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I think Big Ben's only hit over 300 yards once or twice this year. So
I'm going to go my favorites. These are my favorites. I'm looking at DraftKings right now. I like Joey Burrow under 289.5 passing yards. I feel like that's a lot. So I'm going to go under that. And then also I like rushing yards for P. Ryan. He's only at 14.5. Last time he played, he had 10 carries. So I feel like if he gets that again, he should be able to get over that number. And also Joey Burrow over 9.5 rushing yards. I like that as well. So if I'm doing a parlay, actually I have a parlay for this game on FanDuel. So this is my parlay real quick. I'm going to say my parlay. So my parlay is, well, real quick, Antonio Brown or Jerry Jeudy. Me personally, I'd go Jerry Jeudy. What about you guys?
I agree.
I like Judy.
My parlay right now, and you can go ahead and book this, okay? I actually got to get it pulled up. But it is the Steelers, or it's Burrow over his rushing yards, so 9.5. And I did the alternative spread. I'm gonna put this shit up. I'll pull it up here in a little bit. I'll get it on Twitter. And then also we can post your guys as well. So with that being said, any DFS plays, gigs from this game that you like?
I really like James Conner for a bounce back if you want to play him at running back. I've kind of stayed away from the wide receivers in this game, mostly because of the weather, and I also don't know what game flow is going to be like. If I was going to take a wide receiver, I'd probably look at T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd. And if you're interested in playing the Steelers defense, I think that's a pretty solid play. But my favorite play from this game is probably Gio Bernard because of his price. He's priced at 6,200, and he's had a pretty good floor as the starter. And I think he has a good chance of hitting 2 times value even in a tough matchup.
And we got Hoover, or Dan H asking in the chat. I always say his last name. Tom Brady or Big Ben? Who would you go?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
There you go, Tom Brady. And I would say Tom Brady as well.
Hey, if Tom Brady has a bad game today, we need to, start paying attention that maybe he's finally fallen off the cliff that we thought he was going to fall off 2 years ago. Like, he is an old man and he has a lot of weapons and they're all healthy now. So if he can't get it done against Carolina today, I'm going to sound the alarm on Tom Brady.
Hey, I agree. I think if he doesn't get it done, like you said, they got plenty of options, and that's against Carolina. It is at Carolina, but I don't think it makes that big of a difference, so he needs to get it done. All right, let's get into the next game. Well, anything else from this game?
I don't think so.
All right, let's get into the next game, and that's going to be Cleveland versus Houston. So weather issues. I saw today 30-mile-an-hour winds, 50-mile-an-hour gusts. So the passing games, do you guys like the passing games at all?
No. I do not.
Not
So-
a big fan.
Where would you put like Fuller? Or even Watson for that matter? Like I saw a couple questions today, like would you start Tua over Watson?
I personally wouldn't, but I understand the weather is going to be a factor, but Deshaun Watson to me is just an elite quarterback. He's one of the best. And I think he is the kind of guy who doesn't matter what defense he's playing or what the conditions are. He's someone who tries to find a way to win. So I can see Watson maybe getting it done with his feet a little bit if he has to, but I'm going Watson. I have him in fantasy and I'm firing him up. So I'm stick to my guns.
What about you, Ryan?
That one's tough. I think I might go Tua. Obviously, the good thing about both of them at this point is they both seem to have a decent floor with their rushing ability. Tua's been getting it done with his legs a little bit. As obviously Deshaun Watson does the same thing. I don't think you can go wrong with either. Because if the weather is as big of a factor as it seems it's going to be in Cleveland, I think Deshaun Watson, that means he's running a little bit more than normal, which could obviously is big for fantasy wise. So I might lean Tua, but I think if Deshaun was strictly a passing, like didn't utilize his legs, I think it would have more of a factor. But I think this just means that he uses his legs a little bit more today. So I think they both have decent floors because of their running ability.
Okay. Oh boy, Kyle, do you have Twitter pulled up?
I
Kyle.
love when FanDuel Sportsbook tells me I'm not located in Pennsylvania.
Hey, can we relocate you real quick? Thanks.
All right. Who has the Google Docs pulled up?
I do.
Do you have Twitter pulled up? Will you just go through this? Is way too hard to try to do this. Or just run the show.
What do you guys think of DeAndre Hopkins over 5.5 receptions?
I like that. Over 5.5 receptions.
Hopkins,
yeah, I like that.
13.
What are the odds?
It's not great. It's minus 184, but I'm thinking about using it to make a parlay.
I put one together for the Eagles game. If anyone actually, I put a small parlay together for the Eagles game. As Tyler said before, and the key thing here that we like to talk about with the same game parlays is your first one's going to be risk free up to $25. So if you plan on watching tonight in the parlay for the people, just I guess if you're putting in one for the Steelers game or you're putting in one for the Eagles game, just know that that's going to be your risk free one. And tonight's parlay for the people, if you like playing that one, at that point won't be the risk free one. So just take that into account. But I'll mention the one that I just put together for the Eagles game because Ty put one together for the Steelers. I have Goddard scoring anytime as an anytime touchdown scorer. I have Wayne Gallman over 9.5 receiving yards. I have Greg Ward over 27.5. I saw a tweet from like Sal Paolantonio, or it wasn't a tweet from Sal Pal, but it was someone referencing something he said on the show, that they could see Greg Ward getting a lot of catches today because apparently the Giants are falling back into some sort of zone defense where they're going to not allow the Eagles to get deep on them. So I guess if that's the case, a little bit of a downgrade to Jalen Reagor and a little bit of an upgrade to Greg Ward. So I have Greg Ward going over 27.5 receiving yards, and I have Carson Wentz going over 16.5 rushing yards. A $10 bet on that's winning $225.
It's a pretty solid bet. Pick three. Oh, we got some questions. Robbie Anderson, Gallman, or JD McKissick. Who would you go?
Pick three.
No, pick one. Robbie Anderson, Gallman, or JD McKissick. Non-PPR.
I guess Robbie Anderson.
I'd personally go Gallman. That's who I would go. Who would you go, Giggs?
Who is standard?
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson or
Gallman or McKissick?
Oh, Gallman or McKissick? Gallman.
We got another one, and we got pick 3. So Christian Kirk, J.D. McKissick, Chase Claypool, or Tyler Boyd. Just
Ooh.
I would
get
go.
McKissick out of there.
I would go Christian Kirk, Edmonds, and
Oh,
I'd
you
go
didn't even say
McKissick.
Edmonds. Did you?
Oh, just pull up just pull up YouTube and look at the questions. Then I don't have to repeat myself.
Yikes.
Well, it's very easy. All right. Well, let's continue on. All right. So let's go to the next game, and that's going to be Detroit versus Washington. So we got JD or Gibson. Who are you playing today?
Gibson.
Gibson.
I'm going to roll. I like McKissick. I think 14 targets last week. I mean, that's just crazy. I don't think he sees that many, but I definitely think like 8 to 10 is in the realm of possibilities for this game for McKissick. And like I said, he outsnapped Gibson last week by 20 snaps. I get Gibson. I love Gibson, but I also think McKissick's a really solid play as well. Terry McLaurin, do you think he's a top 10 play this week?
No.
You don't? Why?
Who's throwing him the ball?
Alex Smith.
Yeah, and if he didn't have that catch, shake a couple dudes, and then run to the end zone last week, he didn't have a good game. Easy matchup, but I don't trust Alex Smith.
Fair. What about you, Ryan?
I think he's at least gotten the status at this point where he's pretty much a start every week. Top 10 is like tough. I would say it's top 15, top 20 for sure. So I don't know. I think top 10 really depends on if he gets into the end zone, but I think you're trusting him enough, obviously, to play him. But yeah, I do agree with Giggs on that. If he didn't have that play where he completely, I don't even know what the tackling was on that play. He doesn't have as much of a fantasy game. Yeah, that was a brutal play to watch. But without that play, he's definitely not. We're probably not really having this conversation as much, but I just like him a lot. His floor is decent.
I agree. Brady, who would you play? Brady or Breeze?
Oh,
I'd go
Breeze.
You go Breeze. I'd go Breeze as well. I think Breeze at home versus the 49ers, I think that's a pretty good play. Yes, the 49ers have a decent defense, but I think Breeze can get it done this week. And I think Michael Thomas has a big week this week. What about you, Giggs?
I'm not that big on Breeze this week. And I think if you're a Tom Brady owner, this is kind of like what you've been waiting for. I'm not saying Carolina's a bad defense, but Godwin has one more week after that finger injury or coming back from it. So he should be like 100% now. You got Evans, you got AB. He's coming. Tom Brady's coming off a bad game. I guarantee he's going to play pissed off and he's going to want to make a statement. So I'm going to bet on Tom Brady this week.
AJ Brown really didn't help me this week. No, he was not good. It looked promising after that first drive, and then after that it was.
He had two drops. He had
two
one
drops
over the middle and one for a touchdown, and you could see how pissed he was on the side. That's my bad, though. Hey, folks, I said wide receiver 1 last week. Couldn't have been more wrong.
Well, I mean,
crucify me.
It was a good play, just like you said. Didn't get it done, unfortunately. And that's how it goes sometimes. They just don't get it done, unfortunately. They drop passes or things just don't go the way. So, hey, if you have any more questions, though, we'll be happy to answer them. If you have any questions in the chat, go ahead and ask. Do I start Mike Evans or Tyler Lockett? I'd go Lockett, personally.
I'd go Lockett, yeah.
Lockett has been a headache in head-to-head, but this is a really good Lockett game. Really good matchup for him, so I'm going Lockett.
And then Antonio Gibson or Chase Edmonds? How do you guys feel about Chase Edmonds this week?
I'm Gibson all day. Our Aspire fantasy model has Gibson as the best DFS play at running back this week. So I'm going to trust our model.
What is that? Is that like in FanDuel or both?
Well, FanDuel, he's 6,100, which is a great value. Edmonds and FanDuel, I think, is like 6,700 or Oh, Edmonds is all the way at 7,100. I do think this is a good matchup and everything for Edmonds. I do think he can have a good game. But if you look at what Detroit's given up to running backs, it just looks like a day where Gibson could feast. Like Gibson and McKissick could finish together with a total of over like 35, 40 points. No lie.
Would you go AB or Brandon Cooks?
AB because of weather.
Yeah.
I'd go AB as well. For the game in Cleveland does not look good. You got 30-mile-an-hour winds, 50-mile-an-hour gusts. It just does not look good today. I would try. The only players that I would really start in this game and feel good about is the running game on both sides. Other than that, I really don't like anything else personally, just me personally. Let's go. We'll keep talking about the Detroit game then. So you like Gibson as a play in, DraftKings or FanDuel. What about how do you feel about TJ?
I think Hawkinson has shown us that he has an excellent floor, and it's hard to get tight end points. And there's a lot of good tight ends that you can't pick on this Sunday slate. Like obviously Kittle's gone because of injury, but Kelsey's not playing. If you're only doing 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you don't have Mark Andrews, even though he's kind of been trash lately. So like your only best bet this week would be Waller, Hawkinson. Like those are the guys you can pay up for. So I'm feeling comfortable with Hawkinson at 6,200 in FanDuel, and then in actual fantasy, I think he's got a solid floor. They're going to rely on him with no Galladay, so go Hawkinson, fire him up.
And we got a question here on Twitter: Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen?
Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh, that's tough.
I'd personally go Aaron Rodgers as well.
I'm
going to say this real quick. Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to go Josh Allen.
I'm going to say this about. Well, we'll get to it because that's coming up here soon. That game. Any bets? Well, actually, Swift. We'll go to the Lions fan here. What's his outlook today? How do you feel about Swift?
Dude, I don't think anyone knows how to feel about Swift. Are they going to use him? That's the question. There's some days where he gets involved, and then other days he's just watching Adrian Peterson look slow as time. So I don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable playing him. I think he's like a fringe RB3 right now, but maybe a solid flex play in a 12, 14-man league.
All right. We got another question here. McKissick, Swift, or Drake? Me personally, I would go Swift. Or no, I would go McKissick. Who would you go?
I'd go McKissick.
If it's
Definitely not Drake.
PPR, I'd go McKissick.
Yes, if it's PPR, I would go McKissick.
Who are you trying to trade Robbie Anderson for?
Yes, it depends who you're trying to trade him for. If you have an idea, go ahead and send us the trade. We'll definitely let you know what we think about it. Let's go ahead into do you like any bets in this game? Any bets that you like in this Detroit game that have you guys looked at it?
I'm pulling it up now.
I forgot to look at Gibson stuff.
Me personally, I like Gibson over for the passing or receiving. 15.5, I think he gets over that. That was on FanDuel, and it's the odds. The last I checked were minus. I checked this stuff at like 2 o'clock in the morning, so I don't know if it's updated. Also, I like Stafford to go under for passing, 274 yards, 274.5. And what about you guys? You're pulling up now. I'll let you have some time to look at it real quick. I'll go ahead and answer some questions here. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and we'll get to any questions that you have. And on Twitter, if you haven't already, follow us at Aspire Sports _. We'll answer any questions you have anytime during the week. We'll answer. And also, good time to do a little plug. If you haven't liked this video or subscribed, please hit that like button and subscribe button. McKissick or Gibson. We have 2 going Gibson and 1 going McKissick. I think, me personally, I go McKissick this week because I just feel like he's going to be heavily involved, but I also think Gibson's a really good play. Both of them are good plays. So take it for whatever you want. We have 2 saying Gibson, 1 saying McKissick. So I guess Gibson wins.
Hey, one bet I'm seeing in that
Ooh,
Detroit game.
Ryan, I'll ask you
just-
this.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this real quick, Ryan.
All right.
John Brown or Rager standard?
John Brown. I mentioned a little bit ago that the Giants are going in this game apparently playing a deep zone to take away the deep pass. So I think it downgrades Jalen Reagor a little bit and upgrades the tight end and Greg Ward. So I am going to go John Brown on that one.
Okay. And what were you saying?
A bet that I just saw for the Detroit game that I like is Marvin Hall over 2.5 receptions.
Okay. Hunter Henry or Austin Hooper?
Oof. That's
I'd-
tough.
I'd probably go Henry just because we kind of talked about it. I don't like this passing game. I don't like either side in the Cleveland game, so I'd go Hunter Henry. But I do like Austin Hooper's rest of the season value. He does have good value.
Hey, while we're doing this, for the 1 and 4 o'clock games, why don't we say some of our favorite bets? Like I told you, people, we are going to start tracking them, and we have some stats here, which we had a pretty good. What was that? Monday night game.
Yeah. The last one we did, yeah.
Yeah.
What
Monday
we
night.
No,
Where'd
no,
we
it's
go?
Thursday night game, I thought.
Thursday night. My bad.
Yeah.
It was
Where'd we go?
It was pretty much 1-1 across the board. Kyle went 2-0.
Kyle went 2-0.
Hey.
Jeez.
Expert,
Yeah.
the Naheem Hines fan.
Big night. Okay,
Real
Kyle
quick.
went 3-0.
Is it Ryan? Is it Nall? Is that how you say his last name? Or
I think.
okay, so Ryan Nall or Joshua Kelly? Yeah, what's up,
I'm gonna
Josh?
go Null.
I'm gonna go Nall as well, honestly. And please do some DraftKings and FanDuel separate. Okay. So are you saying like DFS plays or bet wise? Which would you prefer? I mean, we can do either or. I mean, obviously, I guess not either or because bet wise, you just want the better bets with the odds and everything. I'm assuming just DFS. So I do have DFS plays on DraftKings, and Gigs will have the DFS plays on FanDuel. So Gigs, go ahead and why don't we do this real quick? Well, one more question. Is Kenyon Drake playing? They said that they're going to test it out pregame. They said that they liked his chances of playing, but he's going to do a pregame workout and see how he responds and then decide then. So it hasn't been official yet. But his chances are looking good. The only reason why I have a little hesitation is because they do have a Thursday night game this week. So to me, it would just make most sense if they sat him and just had him play Thursday night rather than making him start on that short week. So we'll just have to keep an eye out on it leading up to the game here. We got a couple other questions. Hooper or Jimmy Graham? Who would you guys go?
Jimmy.
I'd probably go Jimmy Graham as well.
Yeah, we're talking about the passing game being affected in Cleveland because the weather. So
Right.
I'll go Jimmy Graham.
T. Higgins or Jerry Jeudy?
Jerry Jeudy.
I'd go Jeudy as well. What about you, Gigs?
Don't judge me, judge Judy.
Nice. Okay, so Gigs, go ahead and run through some of your favorite DFS plays this week on FanDuel.
All right, so let me start off by saying this. Last week, only 3 running backs over $7,000 on FanDuel hit 2x value. And what I mean by that is points per $1,000. So 2x means you're getting 2 points per $1,000. I'm looking at the starting running backs this week. And if you're going to pay up, there's some juicy options. So I really like Alvin Kamara. I really like Aaron Jones. I really like James Conner. But all these guys are above 7,000. I think the steals are going to be below like 6,000, maybe like 6,100, 6,200. Because I know Gibson, he's 6,100. He's like one of my favorite running backs to play this week. Duke Johnson sitting at 5,800. I think he can get 2x value. I think Gio at 6,200 can also get 2x value in the running back game. So if you want to pay down, I think this is a decent week to do so. If you want to pay up, look at James Conner, Miles Sanders, Kamara, and Aaron Jones. And then at the wide receiver side, I guess, is the weather bad for this Green Bay game? Because
It's supposed to be. It's like 60 or it's near 30-mile-an-hour winds as well, with
All
gusts up to 50.
I was originally very bullish on Devontae Adams, and I'm gonna
Retract it.
that one. Yeah, I mean, I still like him. I think he's a stud, and he could still go for 2 touchdowns. I mean, they play in Green
Right.
Bay. They're used to bad weather.
Right. Exactly.
If you're gonna pay up for wide receiver, I think that this actually might be a great Hopkins game. And I don't expect him to have high ownership because I think Tre'Davious White is going to scare some people off. So if you want to pay up at wide receiver, I'm big on Hopkins this week. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, I think everyone should be looking at that game. You want wide receivers from that game. They're going to throw all over Seattle. If you want to get sneaky, maybe like a Josh Reynolds in a tournament. I like Gerald Everett as a sneaky tight end play. So that's what I'm trying to do is stack guys in that matchup because Seattle always does bad against the Rams as recently. Like Goff has done, he averages more yards against Seattle than any other team in the NFL. So
Real quick, we have a couple of questions real quick. Tua or Wentz? Me personally, I like Tua a lot today. Tua, I think, is a really solid play today. I'd go Tua. What about you guys?
Tua.
I like Tua as well, but Wentz is solid as well. I know this is
Yeah.
off topic, but Dustin Johnson's lead is narrowing in the Masters right now, guys. He is only up 1 stroke on Sunjay M.
Uh-oh.
So glad I cashed out.
There you go.
The dude can't play on Sundays in Masters.
Last question, most likely. Hey, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Honestly, if you guys have any questions, just keep asking. We don't care. T. Higgins better than Jerry Jeudy today. Hey, could happen if T. Higgins connects on a long touchdown for sure. But I just think Jerry Judy's the safer bet, or I wouldn't say safer bet, but just safer play. Antonio Gibson or Kareem Hunt? I like Kareem Hunt a lot. What about you guys?
I like Hunt.
Hunt, Deontay Johnson or T. Higgins rest of season? Thanks, fellas.
I'd
Ooh.
go T. Higgins.
I'd go Deontay Johnson. What about you, Ryan?
T. Higgins.
All right, so 2 T. Higgins, 1 Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson's the right pick. Just kidding. I took Roy to finish second. Where is Rory right now? I don't have it.
It's tied for 4th.
Okay.
He's 4 strokes off second.
And if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat. And if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. So did you have some others that you want to talk about, Gigs, in terms of FanDuel?
Oh, I got a whole bunch. I mean,
We'll keep going through the games. And
Yeah, I'll give
just
you my
mention
guys
anybody
from-
you like during the games. Okay. So I'll say a couple guys just on DraftKings that I like. I like Tua a lot this week on DraftKings. I think he's really cheap. Let me just look up his price tag real quick, because I had it written down here. He is right now 5,600, which is he's like one of the lowest quarterbacks on the slate right now. So I like Tua, and then you could stack him. I honestly think Gesicki's going to have a good game today. I think this is a game I don't believe in I've kind of talked about it previously, like White as a linebacker, Kaiser White. He's not, I believe that's who their linebacker is. In terms of coverage, they're not very good at covering the tight end. Right now, they're giving up the 2nd most fantasy points to the tight end position. So I just think that this is a really solid game where Gesicki has a good, and he's 4,300 on DraftKings. And then you can go to the other side, and I think Keenan Allen is going to be one of the top scorers at the wide receiver position this week. He has a beautiful matchup in the slot. So I like them. And then a couple other plays. I think Darren Waller is 5,900. I think he's pretty cheap, and I think he has done better, a really good, like really consistent at home. So I think he has a really good game this week. A couple other guys would be like Jerry Jeudy. I think 5,600 right now. He's pretty good price on FanDuel or DraftKings. Honestly, it depends on what you want to do at the tight end position, because I also think if you want to go Jordan Reed, 32 or 3,500 over on DraftKings as well is really cheap. And I think he's a decent option if you kind of want to punt the position. And then I like Kareem Hunt a lot this week because I think he's cheaper than Chubb, and I think he's going to be a little bit underowned because I think people are going to be a little bit cautious with what his role is going to look like. But I just think Cleveland tries to run the shit out of the football today. I think last time it was not last week, it was the week before. Tennessee and Cleveland. No, it was the Raiders in Cleveland. That's who it was. They had 67 rushing attempts between the two of them. So I think they just run the ball. It was terrible weather in that game as well. So I think they just run the ball. We got DJ Chark, Kirk, or Curtis Samuel. Who would you go?
Let's box score Chase with Christian Kirk. That's what I say.
Christian Kirk. I'd go. I really don't like the weather in Green Bay as well. I'd go Christian Kirk as well.
Yeah.
Ayuk or T. Higgins? I'd go Ayuk personally. What about you guys?
I like Ayuk.
I like Ayuk this week. I also like the player prop over 4.5 receptions for him.
James Conner, Nick Chubb, Juju, Claypool, Fuller. Which one do I bench? Me personally, I bench Fuller. That's 3 Steelers though. Who
Yeah,
would you
Helfrich,
bench?
is that your team?
Hey, that looks like a really good team that's going to win. I just don't like that passing game. I'm really worried about it. I'm not worried about quarterbacks and players that are used to playing in the weather, but it's a Houston team that's not used to playing in this weather. So I just don't like the passing game at all, personally. Everett or Logan Thomas? Who are you guys going with?
Logan Thomas.
I'd go Everett.
Everett's my sleeper for this week. I think last game he had 8 targets. I know Higbee, they're coming off a bye. Higbee is probably healthier now. Maybe they want to get him more involved again, but I've never been sold on Higbee. I think Everett's better than Higbee. So because I'm bullish on him this week, let's go ahead and just stick with it. Gerald Everett, firing him up.
Is Duke Johnson a safe play with the bad weather? I think he's a pretty safe play, honestly. I think he's going to be. Now, does he have a great game? I don't know, but he's definitely going to see a lot of touches, which hopefully leads to a pretty good fantasy day. I think he's a pretty solid play this week at the running back position. What about you guys?
I love Duke Johnson this week.
Mm-hmm.
Am I crazy for benching Jacobs for Hunt and Gibson?
Oh,
shit.
I would rather start him over Gibson personally, but hey, that's just my personal opinion. Go with whatever you want to do, but I personally start him over Gibson. What about you guys?
Yeah, I would just hate myself if I ever sat a guy like Josh Jacobs for like one of those picks, because I mean the dude's one of the best running backs in the NFL. And he's one of those guys where you say you just put in your lineup and leave him there until the bye week just because he's an RB1, like that you drafted in the first round probably. So I'm keeping Jacobs in my lineup, especially for a dude like Gibson that obviously we can say we like him because it's like the value for DFS and everything like that. But McKissick's still there, like you'd like to say. I mean, he outsnaps him most of the time. So I'm keeping Jacobs in my lineup. And then if it ends up happening where Gibson outscores him, it's just one of those things that I leave and have to deal with. But I trust Jacobs more than I trust the situation with Gibson.
I agree. I just think as well, you have Jacobs who plays a lot of the snaps where, like I said, last week Gibson got outsnapped by McKissick by 20 snaps. Now a large part of it was passing down, but still, they like McKissick a lot. I think that they're smart in their approach as well. They're not just loading Gibson up with touches in his rookie season. I think it's smart as well. I think next year he's going to be a really solid play though, or go out and draft him because next year I think they really unleash him. But this year I just think that they're content on not loading him up with a bunch of touches and keeping McKissick in there. So I just think I'd go Jacobs just because he's going to have a big workload regardless, should at least. Thank you guys for the help. Just to subscribe. Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you. That means a lot. I'm leaning that way because the main back. Thanks, guys. Set it and forget it. Hey, sometimes that's what you got to do. You just got to set it, forget about it. And if it doesn't work out, then you come back and say, hey, idiots, you made me play the wrong guy. And we'll say, you know what? Just go with your gut. At the end of the day, go with your gut. That's what it comes down to. I'm thinking Robinson over. Would you go Allen Robinson over Godwin?
Yes.
I would as well. I like
Yeah,
Allen
I
Robinson
guess.
this week. Yeah, I guess. What's your guess reasoning?
It's just tough to trust, like, until we figure out what the hell is going on with the Buccaneers. I mean, we tried to get a gauge for it last week, but that was one of the weirdest. Like, I hated that, everything about that game. But it's tough to trust anyone until we figure out exactly what it's going to look like with AB getting added into the mix. We do know one thing is that we don't trust Mike Evans as much because he doesn't even play that well when him and Godwin are playing together, let alone another receiver that's going to garner targets. But it's just tough to figure out Godwin's role with AB there until we see it. So I like Godwin as a receiver a lot, and I like his chemistry with Tom Brady, but it's tough to trust exactly how it's going to shake up pretty much just between those two when it comes to AB and Godwin.
No, I agree with that. It is tough to it's tough to decide between which one to start. I think it's just going to be a headache all season, honestly, because those are three really good wide receivers, and it's just. And then you also have Gronk at the tight end position. You have Fournette out of the backfield. There's just so many options, and I think it's going to be a really frustrating thing all season for a lot of fantasy managers. So temper your expectations. Got a couple more questions in the chat. Swift or Davis? I'm concerned about Davis's matchup. Agreed, but at the same time, he's going to be the lead back. I think you go Davis. What do you guys think?
Mike Davis, because when Christian McCaffrey doesn't play, the volume doesn't disappear for the backup. Mike Davis is used the same way they use CMC. Tampa Bay is going to make it hard for the wide receivers. I actually expect them to rely on Mike Davis in this game. It might not be efficient, might be ugly, but I think he still hits 10 plus fantasy points today.
Agreed. You think Chubb will be getting a lot of touches? I don't think they'll load him up with 20 plus, but I think he'll probably get 15 and he'll be effective with his touches. You guys agree?
Yeah.
I really don't know how I feel about Chubb right now. Whenever someone comes back from a knee injury and it's their first game back, I always temper expectations. And it's not like you got an average running back behind him. Kareem Hunt, some can argue, is just as good as Nick Chubb. Maybe some people think he's better. Who knows? But if they need to feed the hot hand, I'm going to guess that it would be Kareem Hunt because he's looked really good. But it could easily be 40 touches split between two running backs today because of the weather.
At flex, Duke Johnson, McKinnick, or Edmonds, who are you going?
Ooh.
This is PPR. I go Duke, personally. I would go Duke Johnson.
Yeah.
I like Duke, yeah.
For me, it's Duke or McKinnon.
So what about if they end up saying that Drake is ruled out? Are you switching that up
I
at
would,
all? Or?
I would go Edmonds. If Drake is officially ruled out before the 1 o'clock games, I would go Edmonds.
That should be coming out here soon, right?
I hope so. I really hope it comes out here soon because I'm waiting. Because I really do think Chase Edmonds is a really I think definitely a top 10 play this week if Drake doesn't play. I think, last week it wasn't the best game, but he still had 28 touches. 28 touches last week. If he would have fallen in the end zone, he would have been the third highest scoring fantasy player at the position last week, or I think fourth, because I think depending on standard or PPR. If it was standard, I think he would have been third. So if he would have scored a touchdown, which they were down there, he had opportunities. But I think if Drake is officially out, yes. Oh, just pick one. That was my bad.
To slightly switch up, to slightly switch up, the
Hold on,
Lakers
wait.
are in the
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
the Lakers are pretty much finalizing a deal to get Dennis Schroeder.
Oh, big moves.
Oh, we got our. If you guys like NBA, our lead analyst here, Tyler or Giggs, will be doing a lot of NBA stuff. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, because we'll be doing a lot of NBA. Need two. We have Fuller, Samuel, Swift, Davis. Who out of those two would you go? I would
Samuels?
probably. Yeah, I would probably go Davis
Curtis.
and Swift. Yeah, Curtis Samuel.
Damn. I would want to play Fuller. I know we keep talking about the weather, but Will Fuller's just been a stud. If you're box score chasing, Curtis Samuel's been amazing. I think you got to go Mike Davis. Mike Davis out of those four is the must.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's tough. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Davis, Fuller, Davis, Samuel is how I would do it.
Real quick, because I didn't bring up this. My favorite bet in the Cleveland game. My favorite bet: Austin Hooper, 2.5 receptions. I like the over on that. Over on DraftKings, minus 112 are the odds, so I like that. Let's go ahead and just continue on because we haven't really. We've been getting there. Let's go and talk about the Philly game. If you guys have any other questions in the chat, please feel free to ask any questions. I'm calling Josh Jacobs getting 3 TDs. Oh, that's bold. It could happen though. Sure. Philadelphia Giants game. How do you guys? Well, real quick, we got 20-mile-an-hour winds and rain. Do you think that affects the game, and how so? We'll kick it over with the Philly fan here. How do you think that affects the game?
I mean, obviously it affects the game, and I guess you look at it a little bit where it down ticks some of the wide receivers, especially the guys. So there's a few guys that make their, I guess, living off of the deep pass, and you trust them a lot more in those situations. I said it earlier. So Jalen Reagor gets a little bit of a downgrade going into this game, and a slight uptick then for the guys who make it off the short stuff. So I like Dallas Goedert. I mentioned Greg Ward earlier. I like Greg Ward a little bit for the over and receiving yards. But all in all, Sanders is back, and they've been saying he feels good. He's 100%. He's healthy. I like Sanders a little bit in this game. I don't know. The Giants defense is actually sneaky solid. His rushing yards set at 64.5. Let me see what his receiving yards, because I might like his receiving yards a little bit more than that 64.5. His rushing plus receiving is 60 or 86.5. So I like his over 86.5 for rushing plus receiving, and I'm going to make that one of my favorite bets too.
What do you think happens? Do you think they shadow Bradbury with Fulgham? What do you think happens?
I'm trying to recall. I know last time we talked about this when they played, and I think we were under the impression that was going to happen. No, they shadowed him with Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, they shadowed Deshaun.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they switch it over to Fulgham. But like I said, I mentioned it earlier. Sal Powell.
Okay. Sorry, Ryan. There's a question here. Duke. Okay, you got to start one running back, 2 flex. Duke, Swift, Ayuk, Judy, Boyd.
Davis.
Judy Davis. Wait, there's no Davis though. You mean Duke?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Duke and Judy.
Judy, and then who's the other flex? Need one more flex.
I like
Swift, Ayuk, or Boyd. Ayuk?
I'd go Boyd.
I'd go Ayuk as well. I'd go Duke, Judy, Ayuk, but we have one Boyd. So if you like Boyd, go with Boyd.
Boyd's from Pittsburgh, and he played at Pitt. It's
a revenge game. Or
he's
whatever
used to playing there.
All right, Ryan, go ahead. Yes, Deshaun is Goddard a top 8 tight end the rest of the way? What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah.
You think so?
I mean, yeah. All right, let's just be clear. The tight end is a horrible position.
Pretty ugly.
Here.
Right.
Yeah. So if it's a good tight end and an offense that can move the ball, well then, and he's getting the ball around the end zone, then I feel like he automatically has to at least be in consideration for top 8. So, I mean, I would say he's top 8 rest of season for sure. Obviously, But actually when they were playing together, Ertz wasn't even having that good of a season. So
Right.
Ertz is still on the IR. There hasn't really been talks of him coming back. So, I mean, for sure until Ertz is back. But even then after that, I don't know I would love to hear 8 guys where you would say you trust them more rest of season than Dallas Goedert.
Let's play that game.
All right, let's play.
Okay, let's play it. Okay, go ahead. And Antonio Gibson, 30 points today. That's bold. Hey, I'd appreciate it because I have him on some of my fantasy teams, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Aspire
But hey,
loves him.
Aspire loves him. Like, and Ryan said it
Armano loves
perfectly.
him.
This is like the free Aaron Jones movement. It is the free Antonio Gibson movement, but also at the same time, I think they're doing a good job at not overloading him. Next year, I think he gets fully unleashed, though. Next year for sure. Real quick before we go into the tight end battle here. Lockett, Claypool, Fulgham, Duke Johnson. 2 receivers and a flex. So basically, who are you sitting out of these guys? So Lockett, Claypool, Fulgham, Johnson. Who are you sitting?
I would probably sit. I mean, Fulgham's been really good, but we keep talking about that weather. I think Duke Johnson and Lockett are for sure in.
I agree.
So it comes down to Claypool, Fulgham, and I'm kind of bullish on Claypool this week, so I would go Claypool.
So you'd sit Fulgham? Is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, bench the former 6th-round pick by the Lions.
I would bench Fulgham too because honestly, I think that they are going to shadow Fulgham. I think they've made the mistake by shadowing Jackson last time. I think you shadow Fulgham. He's the best wide receiver, so I just think that's what's going to happen. Rather start the other guys. Ryan, do you think he's going to get shadowed, or do you think it's going to be Alshon?
I said earlier, I saw the info from Sao Paulo that they're going to play some sort of like drop back into a zone to take away the deep pass. If that's the case,
Okay.
if they're dropping back and playing the zone, then I don't know. Like,
This is
all info from Sao Paulo. I don't credibility to it. I don't know, but if that's the case, then no to the shadow, and I would play Fulgham over Claypool. With all that being said,
Okay, and then a couple other questions here: Ronald Jones or Darrell Henderson? Who would you go?
Henderson.
I don't like either. Or I will say this: Seattle has a really good run defense, and they just got Snack Harrison back. So I think that's
They have Snack.
Yeah.
Shit.
So yeah. I would probably go
Changing my
Henderson
mind.
still, but it's close because I don't know what to trust in Tampa Bay either. I have no idea what to expect with this backfield. It is such a headache where at least Henderson looks like he's the preferred option in early downs, so you know he's going to get the run in. Chubb or Hunt, which one would you start?
I personally would go Hunt.
I go
Man.
Chubb. I like Chubb. But I think they're both really solid plays. You can't
I go Chubb.
So 2 Chubbs, 1 Hunt. All right. Chark. Okay, so Chark, Claypool, Judy. Okay, this is who you're starting. So they got Chark, Claypool, Judy, benched Higgins, AB, keeper fix. Would you put AB or Higgins in over any of those guys? I'd stay as is, me personally. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'd keep it as is.
Who's Coop?
Amari Cooper?
Oh, yeah, keep as is.
Chubb is way better than Hunt. Hot take. Oh, that's bold. That's bold. I do think he's a better running back. I think, honestly, Chubb is top 3.
Chubb north-south does it just as good as anybody.
I think he's the best. I honestly think he's the best pure running back, like a true running back between the tackles in the league. But then in terms of receiving, I think he's a good receiver as well, but not as good as obviously like a CMC or guys like that.
I personally think the best true running back in the league is Saquon Barkley, but he's stuck on the Giants. It's a damn shame.
True. This is true. Andrews or Gronk? Who are you guys going? I'm going Gronk personally.
Gronk?
Andrews has a really tough matchup and has not been that good this year. in tough matchups.
I know the
Anyways,
Patriots are good against tight ends, so
they're the second best in the league this year against tight ends. And last week it was Indianapolis. They played the first best and now the second best. And last week he had, I think, like 2 points or something. I'd expect honestly the same, unless he falls into the end zone. Touchdowns are incredibly difficult to predict, but if he falls in the end zone, obviously a pretty decent week. But if he doesn't, it's going to be an ugly week. Josh Jacobs with passing game could be up there. Josh Jacobs is a good running back. I wouldn't say he's near Chubb. I think Chubb is much better.
here's my hot take. I think Josh Jacobs is overrated.
Jair, so that's good for if you're a chart fantasy owner. What did you say, Giggs?
I personally think Josh Jacobs is a little overrated. I don't think he's having that great of a season right now. If you look at how much volume he's getting, I don't think Jacobs is bad, but I think he's second in carries in the league right now. Like he's getting a ton of volume, which makes him good for fantasy. But he's had a good O-line his time there. So,
And like you said, volumes they get him. T.J. Hawkinson is officially active. That's what we expected, but he's officially active for today. And if you guys haven't, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. Flex, Claypool, Scary Terry, Jacobs. Who are you going?
Jacobs, after I just
My
bashed
gosh,
him.
that's a good team if you're picking that for flex, unless it's DFS. But
We're a 6-team league.
yeah,
I'd go Jacobs just because I think that he's going to get a lot of volume as well. What about you,
Yeah.
Ryan?
no, I agree with that.
All right, so unanimous, Jacobs, book it. We haven't got to our tight end debate here. We might have a little bit of time, so real quick, Giggs, who are 8 tight ends you'd rather play rest of the season compared to Goddard?
Kelsey.
All right, 1, 2.
I'd rather play Noah Fant. I'd rather play Hawkinson.
We're there.
I would rather play Gronk.
Okay.
I would rather play.
That's a debatable one for me.
Okay. I would rather play Evan Ingram.
My gosh, we're getting this deep right now. I'd give you
What do you
like
mean
one
that
more that you
deep?
haven't mentioned. Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
I love the guy and he has a ton of potential, but let's not act like the Giants are some juggernaut.
I mean, what has Goddard really done?
Well, he has been hurt.
He's in the games that he hasn't been hurt, other than week 1, he has 5 points, 1.2, and 2. I'd
Listen,
rather have
all I'm
Gesicki.
saying. Oh my gosh.
A heated debate here.
I think
I would
I'd
have given
have
you
Richard
Hayden
Rodgers. I'd rather have Richard
Shut
Rodgers.
the
over
All
Goddard.
right, we're done with this. I would have given you Hayden Hurst. I disagree on Evan Ingram. And I don't even know what other nonsense you just said, but there was Gesicki is just I feel like that's just bad.
And we'll see
Which-
after this week. He's going to have a good week this week.
I don't mind him this week. I think it's a solid week for him this week, but
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson. No, I think tight end's ugly, especially towards the back end. I think it's more like preference, whoever you prefer. I could see him definitely as like a top 8 tight end for the rest of the season. It's just kind of ugly on the back end. So
What about Ebron?
hey,
all right,
Giggs, do you have any favorite bets for today?
Yeah, I'm really big on Gibson over 48.5 rushing yards.
Okay.
my fantasy running backs: McCaffrey, Jones, Hunt, Robinson, Chubb. Damn, how did you get all
Who do you
those
draft
guys?
with?
Unless
your
you
emoji
trade,
should just be someone throwing money because
unless
like,
you traded. I think that you could possibly have gotten those guys if you traded,
Killing it.
especially like McCaffrey. If you traded when, I'm not sure when he was going to come back, but those are good, really solid running backs. Very nice. Very nice. Let's continue with our game here. Let's go into the Jacksonville Green Bay. Yes.
Yeah. Scary. I will say, news from out of there. The Packers are without their top 2. Kevin King's also out. So
he's out
Jair
too?
and Kevin King are out. Tanyan is active. We talked about how ugly the tight end position has been.
Ugh.
I don't love Tanyan. I don't love Tanyan,
If
but he
you're
is active
desperate.
if you have to start him. Yeah. Golden Tate is active for the Giants as well.
Is he?
Mhm.
Damn, I was hoping he wouldn't play. Hunt or Duke Johnson? I would go Hunt personally. Need one running back, 2 flex, Duke Johnson, Swift, Claypool, Curtis, standard. I'd go, my one running back would be Duke Johnson, 2 flex would be Swift and Claypool personally. What about you guys?
I didn't hear the question.
I like
The
that.
injury reports are coming out. So
I agree
Alshon
with
Jeffrey is officially active.
He's officially active. You heard it here. Ryan expects a big game from Alshon today.
Whoa.
Mama Weeva. How many snaps do you think he plays?
I don't think he's that limited as far as snap goes, unless of course he gets hurt on the first drive, which isn't out of the realm of possibilities. But I don't think he's limited too much. Curious to see what ends up happening. He is the shorter distance guy, so we could have. I don't know what the props at. I don't even know if they have props for him because they probably didn't know if he was playing up until this report came out. But I'll report back in a minute once I pull up the props for him. I'll see if I like.
We got a real huge Raiders fan. He says that Jacobs is the real deal, runs old school. I don't disagree with you. If you're I haven't watched him that much this year, to be honest with you. I can't agree to or disagree. Hey, Giggs, how about you?
Oh, he's an Alabama boy. All he does is old school running. He's great between the tackles. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good running back. I don't think that he should have been drafted where he got drafted. I actually think Miles Sanders was the best running back in that class. Do I think he's going to be a top tier running back for years to come? I mean, I see him going first, second round until something changes in Las Vegas. But yeah, I mean, he's not. I'm not here to say Josh Jacobs sucks, guys. I'm just saying, look at the stats this year. He's not being productive. Like he's getting a lot of volume, but it's what he's doing with
Efficiency
the volume. Yeah.
Great. Will Hawkinson play? He's officially active. He's officially been declared, whatever you want to say, as active. Let's continue with this game. So how do you feel about Chark though? Like, cause I already said this, right? Like in Pittsburgh today, it's not going to be great weather, but Ben is used to this. Has played in the league how many years now? 16, 17 years. Has played in Pittsburgh his whole career, is used to weather like this, where you have Aaron Rodgers, used to weather like that. It's played in Lambeau, high winds, pretty crappy weather sometimes, used to this. But now you have like guys coming up from the south, right? In warm weather, playing in these crappy conditions. So do you downgrade guys like that? Me personally, I think you do. Will he get targets? Yes, I think TJ Hawkinson is a very good play. I'd agree. I'd imagine all these guys agree with that. Tua, my opinion. So how do you guys feel about Chark in this game? I mean, yes, they are without 2 cornerbacks as well. So how do you feel about Chark?
I mean, he built it. They started off obviously with Luton, whatever the heck his name is. They started off hot last week. I mean, even though like his touchdown, I think it was a deep touchdown, but 7 receptions is a good start. Obviously, with his first week at the quarterback, I don't. Luton, didn't he go to like Washington State or something? I don't know where he went to college, but
Giggs is a college guru. He's good at that stuff, right, Giggs?
But if it is,
comes to that.
Where'd Luton go? All I'm saying is, with the weather being a factor, I don't know where he went to college, but if he's used to playing in that, I wouldn't down ticket. Just like you keep saying, if they're used to playing in said conditions. I know he's in Jacksonville right now. That's not where he spent most of his time growing up playing football. So once I thought Rayman would have that one, but let me look it up real quick where Luton, and then.
Well, here we got a couple questions in the chat real quick as well while you're looking that up. Right. So TJ Hawkinson, will he get targets? Giggs, you think so, right?
Absolutely. And Jake Luton was I think he went to Oklahoma. No, he was a Beaver. He went to Oregon State.
Oregon State, Ryan. Start three: Claypool, Thomas. Ooh, A.B. Godwin, Jacobs, Robinson. Wow, those. I would definitely go Jacobs, Robinson, and then I'd go Thomas. Wentz or Tua? Tua. We said Tua unanimous. I'm pretty sure, right? Over Wentz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So Giggs, who would you start out of these? Fulgham? Well, actually, I'll give it to Ryan since he's the Eagles fan. Fulgham, Rager, or Justin Jefferson? PPR. Which one?
Fuck.
I'll go Fulgham.
All right.
Not
Fulgham
Rager. Not Rager.
Okay. I'm out, guys. Looking forward to doing this again. Hey, thank you for stopping by.
Good luck.
Honestly, we appreciate it. Thank you. And if you guys have any questions in the chat, please ask any questions that you have. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching the stream. So let's go ahead and continue on. We'll keep talking about this game. Giggs, how do you feel about, in terms of DFS, this Jacksonville game with Green Bay? Do you think Aaron Jones is like a must own, or how do you feel about James Robinson as well?
I really like Aaron Jones. James Robinson's been an absolute stud. Dude, every year, let's talk about this real quick. Every year there's that running back you pick up off waiver wires and it wins you the league. This year it's James Robinson by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
Deontay.
I go Deontay personally. But yeah, no, I agree. You're right. I mean, Robinson was looking. There was a couple of weeks there where people were getting a little worried.
Kyle, do you have any favorite bets for today?
I'm gonna say my favorite one. I'll tell you my favorite one of today.
Okay. Moss.
I'd go Balaj personally. Pick whoever you want. I have Aaron Jones in every league. I think Aaron Jones might be the top scorer at the running back position this week. What do you guys think about that? Who do you think, if you had to guess, who would be the top scorer at the running back position this week?
I love Kamara and Jones this week for top scorer at RB.
Yeah.
Do you think Dalvin Cook's going to be it? You don't think Dalvin?
This will be a little bit of regression for Dalvin.
Do you think he scores over 20 points?
No 20 burger for Dalvin this week. Calling it now. No 20 burger.
I agree. I think it gets like, if I'd say 17, really close, but I don't think he gets to 20. I go
Justin Jefferson.
I go Jamal as well.
Really?
Personally.
Jamal Williams has been a interesting guy. Like, even with Aaron Jones, I think he has a couple like 9-10 point games.
I just don't like. I'm gonna say this about the Minnesota game. Minnesota they have the least amount of passing attempts in the NFL. They also play at the slowest rate in the NFL, the least amount of snaps in the NFL. So then you have now a team that passes the least and a team lowest amount of snaps on the road against a very good defense. Me personally, I don't like the passing game at all. I wish they would air the ball out, because I think that they have two really, really good wide receivers. They just don't do it. And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Hey, folks, I got to take my dog outside, but when I come back, I'm going to have a spicy bet for everybody.
I think Josh Jacobs will be the top scorer. Hey, high pick there as well. Oh, I'd go Shepard and DJ Moore.
Yeah. Ty, what's your other favorite bet? You told me you had one and then you never said it.
I have to look at it a little bit more, but I think I like Joey Burrow to go under 289 passing yards. And then I'm going to go Ross Dwelly. His right now is at 11.5 receiving yards. I like the over. just
I'm
got
gonna
YouTube comments.
add to my favorite bets. I'm going to add Roethlisberger under for his passing yards.
Hey, you're a hater, dude.
I'm not a hater. He's gone over. I forget what the number said at.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Relax. You don't gotta get all defensive.
I'm not even offensive right
I
now. I'm
can
pretty chill.
hear the anger in your voice.
He's all right. It's 270. I'm going Ben under 270 passing yards.
I think that Reed.
Reed.
I don't like Tanyan at all. All right, let's continue on. Let's continue on. Hey, we're getting through some of these games. We're only at game number 5, though. We got 13 games to cover, and we got like an hour left, so we got to get through some of these. Tampa Bay, Carolina. Like I said, Tampa Bay's flight, I believe, didn't get there until like 11:30, 12 or 12 o'clock midnight last night, this morning, whatever you want to say. So I think that affects it a little bit because I do think that players are like creature of habits where they get in their routine, they do the same thing, especially like the older players like Granddaddy Tom, right? You know, he's definitely is probably set in his routine. So I think it might throw it off a little bit. And then you also have 20-mile-an-hour winds and rain in Carolina today. So me personally, my favorite bet though, Gronk, 35.5 receiving yards. I like the over on that. And if you guys didn't, please hit that like and subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. We got a bet here, pick 2, or I'm sorry, not a bet. Pick 2, Metcalf, AB, Godwin, Thomas, Claypool. I'd go Metcalf and Thomas. What about you, Ryan?
Say him again.
Metcalf, AB, Godwin, Thomas, Claypool.
I guess I agree with you.
I just feel like biggest ceilings are from those two studs. Start Justin Jefferson or Jamal Williams in my flex. We said, well, I guess Ryan, you go Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Okay, with Justin Jefferson, apparently this is a hot take. I'd say Jamal Williams just because I'll say this again. Minnesota has the least amount of passing attempts in the NFL. They play at the slowest rate in the NFL. So they have the lowest amount of snaps. So those two right now don't bode well for their wide receivers. And this is a really tough matchup. I think Cleveland or Chicago's given up the second fewest points to the wide receiver position this year. So I like Jamal Williams. I think he'll be involved in this game. I don't think this game's going to be very close. So I like him. If Drake is playing, would you start him over Gibson, Nick Chubbs, or Josh Jacobs? No, I would go the other ones. And damn, that makes me mad that McCaffrey is out. Yes, it does. Hey, it was really stupid of them. And we said this last week. They came out and said it. Hey, we're going to rotate series with these guys, which would have been smart. But instead, they did something that was really stupid and gave McCaffrey his first game back after like 8 weeks off, 28 touches. Incredibly stupid. Stupid. I'm going Tua, man. I love Tua this week. I love Tua.
Lamar. Patriots can't stop the run.
Hey, when Tua's the leading scorer after this week, you guys are gonna no. Josh Allen or Lamar, who would you go?
I'm big on Allen. Big on Allen this week.
I like Lamar. I don't like Allen this week, but hey, that's like two Allens. Swift, personally. All right. Whatever the other guys think.
Tua or Herbie? I'd go Swift.
Tua or Herbert? I'd go Tua, personally.
Herbert's the real deal, though.
Herbert is the real deal, but this is a really tough matchup.
Yeah.
I kind of like Herbert because Keenan Allen has a very good matchup in the slot this week.
I think he's going to be one of the top wide receiver plays this week. I will say this. Hey, didn't I say this? I do want to kind of pat myself on the back a little bit with this one. I said a few weeks ago, the Dolphins are legit playoff contenders and have a real chance to win this division, and I still believe that today. I think the Dolphins honestly have a really good chance to win the division. I think that Buffalo goes in, loses today. Miami is going to be tied with Buffalo after today. They have one more game coming up, and I think that's going to decide the division.
The hell? Anyone on Sportsbook? All the games just locked for me except for Jacksonville, Green Bay, and Miami Chargers.
Sam Darnold.
Let me look. Mine aren't locked.
All right, well, let's continue on with this. Mike Davis, right now on DraftKings. If you're playing DraftKings, he's 4,000 right now. I think he's an obvious choice. If you're playing DFS this week, no duh, you're especially in a full point PPR on DraftKings. Definitely Mike
He's going to be
Davis.
so chalky.
So chalky, but that's a good chalky because you need the
Yeah.
chalk because it's going to be a big chalk. It's going to be huge.
Huge.
Kyler just got 37 last week on the Dolphins, so I think Herbie. Yeah, but Kyler's also a different quarterback. He runs the ball. Kyler's like, is he the top scoring quarterback in the league this season? I'm pretty sure. Or is it Wilson?
Kyler Murray, easily. Kyler Murray's averaging like 30 fantasy points a game. He's getting it done, running the ball. He's gonna finish with a better season than Lamar Jackson had last year. Book it.
Book it.
Okay.
How long you streaming? We'll be here till 1:00 till the games officially kick off, because we got a lot of player news to get through and we got a lot of stuff to still cover. We're at game number 6 out of 13 games. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Real quick, I want to plug something in here. I did a little deep dive in the DraftKings pricing. Since we started this stream. I feel bad for all you DraftKings users.
Are you saying DFS wise?
Yeah. This is for DFS, not Sportsbook. Looking at this pricing, I think Aaron Jones at 7,100 is a steal. And if you're looking for a tournament play, like a deep dive play, Josh Reynolds at 3,500 against Seattle, I like that. Jakeem Grant 3,000 against the Chargers. There's no Preston Williams, so he's now like the number 2, number 3 option through the air. I think that's a very sneaky play at minimum salary. And this one,
McKissick.
If you're box score chasing, go Samuel. But yeah, I would say McKissick because of the matchup.
Yeah, you said that you were going to give us a hot bet once you got back from taking your dog out.
Yeah, I'm fucking locked out of Sportsbook now. I can't even make a bet. I should just screenshot this and send it to FanDuel. First, DraftKings doesn't want me to give them money, and now it's FanDuel. I don't get it.
Do you
Just take my money.
Do you remember what it was, a game, and I can tell you, or anything specific?
No, I was just hunting for one.
All right.
Ooh.
I'm going to go Samuels and Jacoby Myers.
You wanted to say it. You were going to say him. No, he was going to say Mooney.
I like Mooney this week.
I do like Mooney. I'd probably go Samuel and Mooney, honestly. I do. Well, he just has a really tough matchup, though. In the slot, Marlon Humphreys is probably the best cover corner, slot cornerback in the league, so it's just tough.
Damn. I don't like DJ
Samuel.
Moore's matchup this week, but
Yeah, I'd probably go Samuel. He's just like more. They're using him creative ways, running the ball and everything. So I just like him more. In this matchup, it is a tough matchup. Personally, I had a great play last week. Down 46 plays going into Monday night. I played Cam and Jacoby, got the win. Hey, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. You come through in the clutch. That was a damn good game too, honestly. For those two teams, it was a really good game. Got lucky. Go Jets. I feel bad if you're a Jets fan, I feel bad for you. But it's good though because you want Trevor Lawrence, right? So you want to lose. So you probably would have been
That's what
happy.
it seems like.
Anyways, let's continue on. We got the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Miami Dolphins. Very interested in Tua this week. 50. I already kind of talked about this. 5,600 on DraftKings. Parker 5,000 on DraftKings as well. It's really cheap. I think that's stupid cheap. I take Parker all day there. Even Gesicki 4,300. I think he has a good game. Then you can go on the other side. Keenan Allen 7,100 on this all DraftKings because Giggs is our FanDuel man here. But I already said this. Miami's a legit playoff team. I think that they're really good. They're playing really good football, and they have a good defense, especially a good secondary. They need some help on the offensive line and defensive line. Say it one more time.
Dobbins.
I'd go Dobbins.
They can't stop the run.
But anyways, and my favorite bet for this game, because I think this is like one of those sometimes you look at player props and you're like, well, this dude's gone over this mark like 8 times this season. Like, this is stupid. Obviously, I'm going to pick over. And this is kind of how Justin Herbert's is. His is right now 277.5. He's gone over this mark, I think, like in all games except I think like 2 games or 3 maybe. So I'm going to go the under here. I'm going to go the under because I don't think he gets it. I think he gets around 250 in my opinion for this game. Any plays that you guys like in this Chargers game? Any bets that you guys like?
For DFS, FanDuel, I'm big on Devontae Parker. He's at 6,000. I'm big on Keenan Allen. He's a little pricey. He's at 7,800, but he's got a really good matchup, and he's scored 17 or more in the past 3 games. I'm with you. I like Gesicki in this game. They have been getting multiple tight ends involved, which is it's annoying if you're a Gesicki owner because he's not getting the targets he should. But I think this could be a good game for him and a good matchup. And then if you want to play either quarterback, Tua or Herbert, I think they're good plays. Herbert at 8,000 is a little expensive for my liking, especially with how Miami's defense has been playing. And Tua at 68, if he can repeat what he did against Arizona, where he had almost 22 fantasy points, you might be able to get 3 times value at your quarterback, which is huge. So I like Tua there at 6,800 on FanDuel.
And then we got a question in the chat. Tim Patrick, Juju, or Jacoby Myers? Who are you starting?
Weather for the Steelers game is not that bad, right?
For the Steelers game, I think it's 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh, fuck. I'm in Pittsburgh. Hey, I'll tell you guys the weather. Yeah, it's a little overcast. It's a little wet outside. Not too windy, but yeah, let's go Juju, guys.
Juju, I'd probably go Juju as well. But I think all of them are pretty decent options. I do like Tim Patrick this week. I love Tim Patrick this week. Obviously, I'm a Tim Patrick fan, but I do think he has a solid week as well. Ryan, real quick, I'm a diehard Pats fan since 1990. Before all the success, Bills and Dolphins will come out of the East. I hate to say it, but I think the Steelers are the best team in the AFC. Even better than the Chiefs. Hey, let's go Steelers! Let's go Steelers! No, I honestly think the Chiefs are. I think the Steelers will lose to the Chiefs. I think Patty Mahomes will beat up that defense, honestly. I believe in the defense, but I just think that when they play really good quarterbacks, they pick apart the zone, and I just think that they'll pick apart the zone. Oh, I would go
DJ.
I'd probably go DJ too. All right. Ryan, any bets on this Tampa Bay game, or not Tampa Bay, the Miami Chargers, or any plays that you like or keep an eye on?
I like Tua over 19.5 rushing yards.
Chiefs defense is so bad. It doesn't matter because I think Big Ben is still going to have an interception or 2. He's just good. He's good. He's been playing incredible this season in terms of like his gunslinging. He hasn't really, his efficiency and everything. He's been playing really, really good football, honestly. But I think against like that, the game's a big game. I think he'll have interception. But well, I'm saying against the Chiefs when they play if they play the Chiefs.
I don't know if I would say the Chiefs' defense is bad.
I think their pass secondary is pretty good. I don't think their run defense is good, but I think their pass secondary is good. But a lot can change from now to January if that's where they'll be playing, whatever the case may be. NFL season can change in 1 week. Like definitely. Say Patrick Mahomes gets hurt this week or Big Ben. I mean, that's a completely different perspective that you're going to be putting on the NFL now and who's the best team and why they're the best team. So yeah, but they still won. Yeah, it definitely does make a difference. But let's continue on. Our next game, a doozy here in the desert between Denver and the Chargers. Or not the Chargers, the Raiders. The Raiders. Who do you guys like in this game? Me personally, Jerry Jeudy, 7,600 on DraftKings. Darren Waller, 5,900 is also in play. And I think I'd probably try to pay up for Jeudy, but Tim Patrick, 4,900 isn't a bad play as well. What about you, Giggs? FanDuel wise.
I like Noah Fant in this game. I like Josh Jacobs in this game. A really sneaky play for tournaments I don't think anyone's going to have is Melvin Gordon. I think it's a decent matchup for him. And at 6,600, I think he's cheaper on DK. Like, I know the pricing is way different on both of them, but like, I think he was substantially cheap. Yeah, 5,200 on DK. I think that's pretty solid. I have him projected for 11 points. So I like 5,200 on DK for Melvin Gordon. That looks good.
So you'd start him over Lindsey if you had the option, if you had to pick one?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is more of a Melvin Gordon game. I think the Raiders defense is abysmal. I think them and Detroit are the two worst defenses in the league right now.
Ryan, do you think that Jerry Jeudy's a top 20 play this week?
Yeah, he's slowly come on, but I mean he's there now. We kind of we're all waiting until he started the season off not fantastic, but with everything that's happened with that offense and they continue to develop, I think he's here to stay as far as a reliable fantasy option every week.
And I will say, kind of pointed this out. Past 2 weeks, they've moved him out of the slot, put KJ Hamler in the slot, moved him outside. And I'll say this. I went back and watched that Atlanta game. My God, he was open on every single play. Like, he honestly was. His route running was phenomenal. Like, the dude was breaking ankles on his – the unfortunate thing is Drew Lock didn't look his way sometimes and also overthrew him a couple other times or underthrew him. So, he was open. I think he's going to be a stud as long as they keep him outside. I think he's just better. I know he kind of was a slot receiver a little bit in college, wasn't he? Did he play in the slot in college or was he on the outside?
I don't know. He's probably up there for best route runners in the league.
Jeudy?
Yeah, Jeudy.
Yeah, Jeudy.
He played outside. Ruggs was in the slot.
Okay, so I don't know why they had him in the slot this season then, but since they moved him out, he's been doing much better. Morning, guys. Would you start Duke Johnson or Mike Davis? Ooh, that's a good question. Good question. I'd probably, if it depends. If it's a full point PPR, I'd go Mike Davis. If it's more of a standard, I'd probably go Johnson because I think he'll have a better day in the run game than Mike Davis because I don't think Mike Davis is going to get much going in the run.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That's a great
killing
question.
The waiver wire.
Because that's also like a great DFS question. They're priced very similarly on FanDuel. I think Duke's 5,800, Davis is 5,400. Obviously, FanDuel didn't think either of those guys were going to be starting. But I'm going to go back to what I said about Mike Davis in that offense. They give him the ball like he's Christian McCaffrey. They don't change much. The volume's there. I have my doubts of whether Duke can get it done running. I know he can get it done catching. So I think the safer bet, surprisingly, would be Mike Davis, even though he's playing Tampa. And that's just my opinion.
Fair enough. And Marcus asked this question. I forgot. Drake is playing is Drake playing? Well, I'm assuming if Drake is playing, do I take the risk and use him as my flex? 14 team league, 0.5 PPR, 2 running backs in a flex, starting Aaron Jones and Giovanni. I guess it depends on who the other flex options would be. Now if it's like a Ryan Nall or somebody like that, yeah, but it depends on who are your other flex options.
If it's full PPR, I wouldn't play Kenyon Drake. He only has 7 receptions on the season. So if you have a wide receiver who gets volume, I think I'd go him over Drake, especially with Drake not being 100%.
I'd go Claypool. I think it's going to be a good Claypool game. I think they're going to connect on a deep throw. Been trying it every week and hasn't worked out, but I think this week it happens. A couple more questions in the chat. Should I start AB, Henry Ruggs, or Thielen? Giggs, who would you go?
AB or Thielen. Probably. Oh, I know they don't throw a lot, but I would just go Thielen in this game.
Ryan, who would you go? I'd personally go AB, but Ryan's going to be
the
deciding
between
factor.
those. I think between those two, I'd roll the dice on AB.
All right, 2 ABs, 1 Thielen. Next one, Will Fuller or Henderson as flex. Who would you go? I know it's going to be nasty weather, but I'd rather roll the dice on Fuller. Hopefully he catches like a short pass and turns it for like an 80-yard touchdown. Could certainly happen. I know it's going to be nasty weather, but I'd probably roll that way because we also said Snack Harrison.
Tunyon.
Neither. Go with Tunyon, like Gig said. I wouldn't want any of them. But Snack Harrison is going to be back in the lineup for Seattle. So this is also a Seattle defense, run defense that's been pretty solid on the season. Now that's going to get even better. So I don't think the Rams are going to rush the ball efficiently, be good on the ground. I'd just go Fuller. Hope for that big play.
That Lakers trade is the 28th pick and Danny Green for Schroeder. And they made it with the assumption that they're losing Rajon Rondo in free agency. I know we're talking about fantasy football, but pretty breaking news there.
That is a huge upgrade since Danny Green like alligator armed every shot in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Yeah, he was supposed to be your D&3 specialist, and he did neither. So I think it's great. Trim the fat, add a younger player who can be a primary ball handler. It's good. Schroeder does not have a very reliable 3-point shot. He did look better playing off the ball with OKC when Chris Paul was the point, but Schroeder is like that perfect 6-man guy coming off the bench. If they're going to start him, I'd be a little surprised, but I think he's a perfect guy to have come off the bench and get you some instant scoring and handle the ball when Braun or Davis need a breather. So I think it's a good move for the Lakers, definitely.
And if you enjoy NBA basketball, Giggs over here is our lead analyst during the NBA season. Make sure you tune in for that. He'll give you all of his fantasy insight, DFS plays, betting, whatever the case may be. Tune in for that. Also, I'm going to say this real quick plug. If you haven't already, please like the video. Hit that subscribe button. We go live 3 times a week, or 4 times a week, twice on Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. So we'll give you all the insight. Plus, we release videos daily to give you the advice you need to win your leagues. So also follow us on Twitter at @AspireSports_. We answer any questions you have. All of our social medias are linked down below. TikTok, maybe you guys like TikTok. We're on TikTok. So with that being said, let's go ahead and continue on. We're fighting through this. I'd go Gibson just in case I think Allen Robinson plays. He's expected to play, but say the workout doesn't go well. I do like Allen Robinson, but in the slight chance he doesn't play, Gibson.
I think Robinson's playing, but I'm with you.
He plays.
Gibson is – guys, the Detroit Lions have given up 1,500 all-purpose yards to running backs this season. Think about that.
That's pretty pick 2 of the 3 to start. Deontay Johnson, Parker, Giovanni Bernard. Full PPR as well.
I would go Parker and Bernard.
I'm going to go Parker and Johnson. Hey. Who would you
go? Parker and Bernard.
All right, so 2 out of 3 are wrong. 1's right. All right. Anyways, let's continue on. If you have any other questions in the chat, please feel free to ask. Let's continue on to the Arizona versus Buffalo game here. And real quick, one other chat. Mark Andrews or Noah Fant. I'd assume everybody's going to say Noah Fant. Maybe Ryan will say Andrews.
No, I agree. No,
Okay.
no, I'm fan.
Fant. You're just relying. I think Fant's the safer play because he could possibly get a touchdown as well, but just going to see more opportunity, more yards. Where Andrews, you're going to have to rely on a touchdown because I don't think the yards are going to be there. So let's go to the Arizona versus Buffalo game. Big game for Josh Allen. You guys think?
Oh yeah.
I think the two quarterbacks get into a little like rushing war. Like, hey, you just did that. I'm gonna do you one better. I think both of them rush a touchdown in. A little bold. No, actually, that's not that bold. But I think they both rush one in today.
I'm gonna say this. This is my bold prediction. Josh Allen, a fringe top 10 play this week, and here's my reason why. Right now, Arizona is 3rd in the league in pressure percentage, and then 2nd in sack conversion on the season. Right now, Buffalo is 2nd worst in terms of allowed pressures to the quarterback. So I think Josh Allen's going to be running for his life in this game. And I think he plays bad on the road. Just my take here. I don't think he plays well. Which running back in Buffalo would you play?
Like Moss or Singletary?
Zach
Moss. Moss.
Yeah,
I agree. Do you think Singletary's borderline droppable?
Not yet, because if Moss got hurt, you'd want him.
What if he was at the end of your bench and you wanted to pick up, say like somebody like you needed a flex play this week, say somebody like a JD McKissick or Gallman was out there. Would you throw Singletary in there if he was on the end, or would you drop him and pick one of those guys up?
In a full PPR, I would consider McKissick. All 3 of those situations is, if one guy goes down there, it's clear cut who you want to have. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I would.
DJ Moore is going to have a bad game.
You heard it here first. Robbie Anderson or Mike Williams. It's a tough matchup, but I'd still go Robbie Anderson.
Mike Williams is too boomer bust.
I think Robbie Anderson's just really consistent. It's not always really high scoring, but he's really consistent in terms of targets and catches. Start 2, DK, Hopkins, Kupp, Parker, T. Higgins.
Oh my gosh.
DeAndre Hopkins and Kupp.
That's probably who I'd say, but it's really close. Yeah. DK's right there as well. Because he's just a stud and can do anything. But I think I'd probably go DeAndre Hopkins, Kupp. Kupp has a really good matchup this week. I think I saw like Seattle's given up over 700 or right around 700 yards on the season to slot receivers alone. So that bodes well for Kupp. That bodes really well for one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. Ronald Jones or Jamal Williams? Which one? I go Jamal Williams. I just don't know what to expect in this Tampa Bay backfield. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Bruce is putting Rojo in the doghouse, so.
Yeah, and then he came out and said, what did he said like 2 questionable things. Like Bruce Arians he says some crazy shit sometimes. Whereas if you're like a player, you're like, what the hell are you saying this for?
Yeah, Bruce is on the loose.
He really is. Should I start Godwin or AB? Oh, that's a tough one. I'd say Godwin.
I'll go Godwin. Yeah.
I just think, what do you think, Giggs?
That's tough. Because it's on the same team, which makes it annoying. Let's just go AB because I don't know. Does that give us 3 for AB? Let's make it easy.
You said we said Godwin.
Let's go AB. Be contrary. Fuck it.
All right. So 2 Godwins, 1 AB. And if you guys haven't already, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. 4 times. I keep saying 3, damn it. 4 times during the week we're live.
Yeah.
We release content daily to help you win your leagues. We release content daily, so check it out. Also follow us at the Aspire Sports Show _. Hunt. I'd go Hunt. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on. Diggs, do you think he's a top 5 play this week? And Chubb or Duke Johnson? Would we go Chubb here, or would you go Duke?
I think I'd go Chubb.
I'd go Chubb. So did you say Chubb as well, Ryan?
Yeah.
Unanimous Chubb. Start 3 between these guys. So start 3. Justin Jefferson, Rager, Landry, Sterling Shepard.
Shepard, Landry, Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm not starting Rager today. It's just one of those matchups. They're taking away the deep pass. And if all of this is wrong, if they don't do this, don't blame me. Blame Sal Palantonio. I love that man. Like, I wish he was like my grandfather or something. But like, I just think that this is everything I'm saying based on Rager is his report that they're taking away the deep pass and playing like a deep zone, leaving the stuff short.
I'd probably go Boyd.
Yeah.
No, Evans could
Get
go
rid
off
of
to that
Landry,
as
and
well.
it's Evans or
Yeah.
Boyd.
Ooh, Robert Woods or Tyler Boyd? I'd go Woods.
Woods all day. Guys, I think
love
Robert
Woods.
Woods is going to finish this week as a top 10 receiver.
Yeah.
Very well could. Yeah, this is a plus matchup. Michael Thomas, Fulgham, Boyd, Anderson. So who are you sitting out of those 3? Ooh, who am I sitting? Oh gosh, Michael Thomas, Fulgham, Boyd. Which one would you guys sit?
Start 3 of them. I'm going to sit Fulgham. I'm sitting Fulgham or Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, it's between those two who I'm sitting. I'd go Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
I'd go Moss. I'm gonna feel good about it though.
That's a
think
tough
so.
one. What were they again? I'm going to go Sanders. I think Emmanuel Sanders has been like quietly productive. Like I think he's got
When
like double
healthy.
points, 3 or 4 games.
Balaj or Pope? Who would you go?
Roll the dice on
Thoughts on
Balazs.
Lutton
Makes me wanna
in a
puke
super
saying
flex?
that.
Is it Lutton or is that his name? Is it Lutton?
Let's just go with Lutton.
Or thoughts on Lutton in a super flex? In a super flex, yes, I think I would definitely start a quarterback in a super flex spot, as Ryan said the previous week, unless you have like a stud person to put in there. And if these are 2 guys that you would consider, no, I would definitely go Lutton. Antonio Brown, Godwin, or Fournette? Oh gosh.
I have all of Tampa's team. I can't play them all. Who do I sit?
Oh, I would pick up Mostert.
You said Mostert?
Yes.
Yeah, I pick up
immediately.
Mostert. That dude's gonna be nice when he gets back.
When he gets back, yeah. I'd go Godwin.
I would, yeah.
Start 2. Okay, it's start 2. Sorry. So start 2 out of those 3. Who are you sitting? Antonio Brown, Godwin, or Fournette? I would honestly just pick a name out of a hat. Put him in the hat. Decide who you're because I have no idea what to expect from this Tampa Bay offense. They looked so bad last week, and that with AB, that was the first game with AB. So what the hell do we expect out of AB? I really don't know, but I would possibly go Fournette. Me personally, I have no idea though. What would you go?
If it's a full PPR, I'm going to go Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin. If it's half PPR, that's when it gets tough. If it's standard, I think you put Fournette and then choose between Antonio Brown, Godwin.
Chase or Jerick McKinnon, Chase Edmonds or McKinnon as RB2?
Edmonds.
Oh, Garrett Gigamock. Oh, what's up, Garrett? I'd go
the
Edmonds.
G-Man.
Who would you go, Giggs?
Kenyon Drake's back, so Edmonds is splitting carries. Probably going to get more than Drake because Drake's coming off injury, but I don't know. Does McKinnon have tired legs this week? They said they're going to rely on him. So
which could mean play hasty, right? Like,
right, they're going to be playing from behind, is my guess. So McKinnon could get some passing down work. So in a half PPR, full PPR, I would feel much more comfortable with McKinnon.
All right, little bit of news here. This apparently this is DeAndre Swift's first NFL start today.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that changed the share percentage, but it's expected to make his first NFL start against Washington.
Yep. Hopefully you traded for him when we said to trade for him, because he's going to be a solid RB2 the rest of the way out. If you have to, good God. But if you have anybody better than Mark Andrews just playing there, absolutely. I don't care if it's Kalen Ballage, I'd probably throw in there over Mark Andrews. Let's go with
guys.
Go ahead.
It's pick 3: Robbie Anderson, Marvin Jones, Jacoby Myers, DJ Moore.
I'd sit Jacoby. I know he had a really good week, but this is a really tough matchup with Humphrey. Hey, thanks, Gary. We appreciate it. A couple more questions here in the chat. Start one. Rager. We have only one in the flex. So Rager, Sanders, Emmanuel Sanders, Jamal Williams, Slayton. Who are you starting out of those 4? I'd probably I would go Jamal Williams.
Who was the second person you said?
Nah, actually, I'm going to change my mind. Let's go
Sanders.
Darius.
No,
Sanders.
Don't do Slayton.
What?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Don't start Slayton. Slayton's going to get shadowed by
right,
Slay.
don't start
We
Slayton.
did this last time, and Slayton didn't have that good of a game. Don't start Slayton. Go Emmanuel Sanders.
I would go Jamal Williams, personally. All right,
Okay.
but whatever, Sanders. Go Sanders. Kyle, if you're muted, nobody has been able to hear you all day. Back to Ronald Jones and Jamal Williams. I have Michael Brown on my bench. I could pick up Cordell Patterson or Rex Burkhead, but my main concern is my opponent is starting Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones. Oof. You're going against Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones this week?
What a backfield.
That is a really, really solid backfield. I would go Jamal Williams, and I think he's going to be involved on the ground and a little bit out of the backfield. Me personally, what do you guys think? Ronald Jones or Jamal Williams?
Jamal Williams is who I would say.
Guys?
I have no idea.
Hunter Henry or Austin Hooper? I'm going to say Hunter Henry.
Go Henry, I guess, because the weather.
Yes, the weather in Cleveland, if you haven't heard, going to be terrible, terrible. And if you haven't heard, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. Release new content daily. And we're live 4 times a week. I said it that time. 4 times a week we are live. We'll be live tonight. Tonight from about like 7:20 to 8 to kick off the late game. And we'll be kind of recapping the week. Also talking about plays for the game tomorrow night or tonight. And we'll talk about some plays tomorrow night as well. Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones, what the hell? A 3-team league? No, it's 12-man league. It could happen. Because also I don't think it depends on when you draft as well, because I don't think Aaron Jones, I think a lot of people were definitely worried about him this year with them drafting AJ Dillon as well.
Mm-hmm.
So some people were definitely concerned.
I feel like that has to be a keeper situation or a trade. Oh.
Well, they're the pros, right?
No.
I don't
I
like
start
DJ Moore's matchup this week. I don't.
The people listening to the live stream right now are probably so confused because we just randomly answer a question, can't hear Kyle. I've been thinking about that.
I didn't even think about that. Wow. All right. Well, let's keep going. Higgins or Jerry Jeudy? Flex option. In my opinion, Jerry Jeudy. I think it'll
Judy.
be unanimous Jerry Judy here. I have Hopkins, Metcalf, and Jacobs, so I hope that cancels out. Yes, if you have those guys, that definitely cancels out. Watson or Rogers, I'd go Rogers. I don't like Watson this week. What do you guys think?
I agree.
It's not that I
Weather
don't
sucks for
like
both, but I think I'd go Rogers.
McKissick or Bernard. Who would you go?
Bernard.
Gio.
Geo, yes, I would probably go Geo as well. Still, holy crap, 12 teams. Yes, maybe you're drafting with the guy like we drafted with that drafted Lamar in a one quarterback league, no special scoring to quarterbacks, third overall. Maybe you're drafting with some people like that. It could happen. Lockett, Fulgham, Higgins, Sanders.
Don't
Pick
play
three.
Fulgham. Or pick between Fulgham, Sanders. Play Higgins, Lockett.
I would say don't play Sanders. That would be mine. Drake or Hunter Henry, 4-point, or this is full 4-point quarterback, full PPR. So full PPR, I'd go Hunter Henry.
I
Would you
agree.
guys?
Like I said, Kenyon Drake has 7 catches on the season, so
And he's banged up. And like I keep saying, they play Thursday night. They play Thursday night this week. So I don't know. I just don't like it that much. It worries me a little bit because I don't think he's going to be heavily involved in this offense today, just to kind of preserve him for Thursday night on a short week. All right. Any other questions you have in the chat, please go ahead and ask away. Lockett, Johnson, Chubb, start 2, bench 1. Who are you benching?
Who would you say before Chubb? I like Lockett and Chubb.
Duke Johnson.
I'll go Lockett. Sit Duke Johnson.
I agree. I'd probably sit Duke Johnson as well. What about you, Giggs?
if it's actually I don't even care if it's half PPR or full PPR. I think I would just go Lockett, Chubb. The thing about Lockett that no one's talking about is he's only been good for head to head for like 4 weeks out of the whole season. He throws up like a 5, a 4. That kills you. Where I feel like Gio, that's who he's. I'm sorry, Duke Johnson. I think he has a very safe floor today. So I like the Lockett matchup, but Duke has a safe floor.
He does have a safe floor. Agreed with that. I'm playing Cole Beasley over Drake this week in my flex.
I think that's fair.
I don't think it's terrible. I think it's.
I say hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So any other questions, keep asking them. Also, if you haven't subscribe, let's go ahead and try to talk about, we only got a couple more games here that we got to get through. The Rams in Seattle. Are you playing everybody in this passing attack for the Rams?
Yes.
This week?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you play everybody. Even if you are really desperate, like a Reynolds possibly could have a little sneaky game. I do think I would rather play Everett over Higbee this week. Agree to disagree? Well, agree or disagree? Which one?
I like Everett, man. I think he is a sneaky tight end play. In FanDuel, he's minimum salary at 4,500. I think he could have a big game against Seattle.
He did last year. He did last year as well. We got some questions here in the chat. They're flying through the chat here. Thanks, guys. Sanders on my bench, but was unsure about Fulgham with Miles Sanders back and Rager back. I think Fulgham, we kind of talked about it. They said that they're going to play a zone. Take it for what it is. I mean, we've heard, hey, Christian McCaffrey is going to split series. Didn't happen. JD or Hasty is going to be heavily involved. Didn't happen. McKissick.
The Aaron Jones night, they were splitting carries.
Yeah, Aaron Jones.
Only
he's going to be
emergency
used in
situation.
He used the first 4 plays.
Yeah. So, coach talk. Mark Ingram is expected to play today. Damn it! I was really hoping he wouldn't. I like J.K. Dobbins a lot. Let's go ahead. We got some questions here in the chat. Fant or Gesicki? I'd probably go Fant. I think he's safer, but I do think Gesicki has a decent week this week as well, but I'd go Fant. Woods or Brandon Cooks? Flex. Robert Woods.
Woods all day.
Woods all day. Drake or Kalen Ballage? Full PPR.
Ballage.
Woods versus Seattle's D all day. Yes, all day. And Seattle's going to be without their number 1 corner take it for what it is. He's not very good anyway. Should kill Griffin. He's going to be out this. Who's the first one?
Moss.
Gronk. Gronk. Hey, you're welcome.
Can you imagine how bad the cornerback has to be for the Seahawks? That's a backup to the worst secondary ever created for that dude to be on the field today. The Rams should put up I think 600 points actually.
They should. They should, and I hope they do, because if if it's going to be like a James Conner week where this game is just a massive letdown, that's the only concern that I have a little bit, is that they get to Goff and they don't let them be able to really throw the ball out, and it's just going to be like a James Conner week where it's just a letdown. I don't think it's going to happen, but I have this little bit of worry in the back of my mind about it. Yes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like the video as well. We go live. Let's go ahead. Well, let's keep trying to get through this real quick. How do we feel about the Rams backfield against the Seattle front with Snack Harrison back?
Don't fire him up.
Don't fire him up. Agreed. Jackson or Watson? Who would you play?
Jackson.
I'd probably go Lamar as well.
Guys, play 2 of the 3. Nick Foles, Daniel Jones, Matt Stafford.
I'd said Stafford. I think Daniel Jones is going to have a little decent week.
Even in that weather?
Yeah, he's going to get it. Did you see that long touchdown run? He had the fastest speed as a quarterback. Faster than Lamar. The dude can run. No. I'm a little worried about the passing game. Right now, Washington has allowed the least amount of passing yards in the NFL this season. So I just don't think it, especially with Golladay back or out again, I just don't think it's a good week from Stafford, personally.
Who do you think has a better week then? Foles or Daniel Jones?
I like Foles. I honestly think he's a pretty good streaming option this week. Matt
Foles.
Nagy is giving up the play calling. Thankfully, he did this last year, and the team actually played a little bit better. So I think, or was it 2 years ago or something? I forget when it was. I think they need to give up the play calling. Yes, I think it was last year he did it. It was around Thanksgiving time. So I think he needs to give up the play calling, allow the offense coordinator to take it over, and I think this is going to help the team out. And he threw the ball 52 times last week. They throw the ball a shit ton. So, Ryan, any parlays you have in mind?
I mentioned one earlier for the Eagles game. Ty mentioned one as well that he was putting together. I can repeat my one from the Eagles game that I sent out.
Go for it.
I know it was Goddard scoring. I'm pulling it back up. Stupid iPhone, you have to show your face. It was Goddard scoring, the over for receiving yards for Greg Ward. Wayne Gallman over 9.5 receiving yards, and then Carson Wentz over 16.5 rushing yards. So it was Goddard to score, Wayne Gallman over 9.5 receiving yards, Greg Ward over 27.5 receiving yards, and then Carson Wentz over 16.5 rushing yards.
Real quick, Goff or Burrow? I would definitely go Goff. Is that pretty unanimous? Goff.
Yeah.
Goff's my QB3 this week. Top score.
Morning, y'all. I was about to flip AB plus Chark for DK. Now I need a flex. I would definitely do that trade. I would get DK if you're able to. If that's who you're getting, I would want DK. Now I need a flex. Fulgham, Fournette, DJ Dallas, standard scoring. Who would you guys go?
DJ Dallas.
DJ Dallas. Bernard. Personally. All right, I'm going to say my parlay. This is my parlay in the Steelers game. I'm doing a Steelers parlay. Okay. Joe. Oh, has it gone down? What the heck? Oh, no, this was on FanDuel, where it's a 9-yard difference. On DraftKings, if you're going to be betting, me personally, I like Joey Burrow, 289.5 passing yards. I like the under. I guess on FanDuel, it's 280. I still like the under. I think he gets around 250 in this game. So I like Joey Burrow under. Deontay Johnson, 53.5 receiving yards. I think he goes over. And then the spread, alternate spread, Steelers 11.5. A chance that's 3,400 odds right there, 3,400. So $1.45 is what I bet on this game to win $49.64. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. Dallas Goddard or Slayton? PPR.
Goddard.
Who you guys going?
Goddard.
He says it with such
I have
conviction.
confidence in that one.
Yes,
Conviction.
confidence.
You're right.
Who would you go, Gigs?
Slayton. Guys, I'm not a Goddard believer. I'm sorry.
I'd go
How can you
Slayton
be a
in the hopes he
Slayton?
scores a touchdown.
Oh man.
Oh my God! It says the Eagles fan. All right, fine. I'll go Goddard. I'll believe with him. I'll believe. All right. So DJ Dallas is a good play this week. We agree with that.
Yeah.
He's a pretty solid play this week.
I think
with
it's a
Chris
decent
Carson out.
floor for a flex option.
A
Absolutely.
flex up. Lockett or DK? Who's going to have the better game?
I'm gonna go Lockett. I know DK is great, but sorry to cut you off. But I just think that Ramsey's still number 1 or number 2 in the league at corner. And if Metcalf can't catch a long one, I don't see him beating him on routes. So I'm gonna go Lockett.
They haven't been shadowing with him, and he came out with a little quote earlier this week
Saying, yeah,
that said that he'll be covering all their wide receivers at some point. So Duke Johnson.
Duke Johnson. What about David Moore? A couple questions in the chat. We have Noah Fant or Ingram, Noah Fant. That'll be unanimous here. Edmonds or Ronald Jones? I would still go Edmonds. Even if Drake plays in this game, I'd still go Edmonds. What do we think about David Moore? I know, Giggs, you talked about David Moore before. How do you feel about him in this game?
I like David Moore in this game. I think he can have a serviceable game as like a wide receiver 4 or flex in a 12, 14-man league. He had a decent amount of points on the season.
He does. I was looking at it. He's a sneaky. He's been a pretty decent play, and especially, and we kind of said about this, like, or I was talking about this to one of my friends. I forget who did the Patriots just trade for? One of the wide receivers and
Isaiah Ford, I think it was.
Isaiah Ford, yeah. He was asking me, should I pick up Isaiah Ford and drop David Moore? And I was like, if something happened to DK Metcalf, who would you rather have? Or say something happens to Jacoby Myers or Harry, who would you have out of those two? Obvious choice for me would be David Moore. Like, I'd rather have David Moore in this offense in case something happened to Metcalf or Lockett. He becomes the number 2 option in a very good passing attack, a very good offense in Seattle. So keep that in mind. That's going to be a future. I'm going to put out a waiver wire video tonight. So if you need some options for the upcoming week, waiver wire wise, make sure you check out our video. A couple questions in the chat. Rodgers or Eli, or Roethlisberger or Eli all time? That's a joke question. I know you're just teasing there. Obviously, Eli with that answer, right? No, Roethlisberger. He's probably the best of all time. Let's be for real. Henry.
Yeah.
Henry or Andrews? I think we can all agree. Probably we go
Henry.
Henry. Agreed.
Yeah.
You guys are on before the late game today too, right? Yes, we'll be live. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you for bringing that up. We'll be live today again at around like 7:20ish, somewhere around there. Right around probably 7:20 to 8:20 is when we'll be live tonight.
Curtis Samuel.
So we'll be live tonight. Defense question before I start. Washington or 49ers, or pick up the Bengals, Raiders, Seahawks, Jags. I'd probably go Washington personally. Out of all those options, I feel like they're probably your best bet.
Yeah.
You got Marvin Jones or John Brown. Who would you go, Giggs?
We're talking Marvin Jones, John Brown. That question?
Yeah.
I'm a homer, so I'm going to go Marvin Jones, but I do like John Brown's matchup. But I'm going to go Marvin, starving for Marvin.
I would personally go, Kyle, are you also asking questions that people are asking us as well on Twitter or no? Yeah, like that they're asking us directly. Okay. Do you want me to take over any of them, or are you good? Okay. I would go John Brown personally, but hey, it's just my opinion.
I agree with Tyler. Get it? Because there's two Tylers. No, but I would go John Brown.
All right, so let's continue on. We got 3 more games here. Let's try to get them out real quick. New Orleans versus San Francisco. Shanahan said big workload for McKinnon. So are we buying or selling this week? Is this coach talk? Do you trust it? Or me personally, I said it last week. If Mostert is in a lineup, I don't care who's playing. I'm out on this backfield. I'm not getting burned again. I've been burned already 3 times this season with this backfield. I'm out officially. How do you guys feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to pick that. Like at Shanahan, I feel like he's one of those guys that he's a coach talk guy. So I don't even know I don't know if I would trust what he says. I might want to hang out with him if he wanted to be friends or something, but as far as like trusting him with this his talk with the backfield, I don't think I trust him.
How do you feel, Giggs?
I kind of like McKinnon this week.
I want to like him really bad because I like McKinnon as a player, but he's burned me too many times. I can't fully buy in. I really want to like him, but is Brandon Ayuk a top 20 play this week?
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
I'd
love
say
Ayuk.
top 20, but he's in a good matchup.
Top
I like-
25?
I'm still going to say yeah.
I'll say yeah too. Giggs, do you think so, or do you think he's more like top 30, like a wide
I
receiver?
don't know. Is Richie
3-ish?
James going to have 15 catches for 200 yards again?
I did see a stat that said Richie James had 150 yards after the catch in that game, which is disgusting. I'd go probably. Yeah, that's fine. Just say whoever you want. Miles Sanders, Chubbs, or Jacob. Which one are you sitting?
Oh,
None of them? I can't. No.
I'd sit Jacobs, but I
why
would
do we
not
have to
feel
sit
good about
one?
it.
What is your team?
Yeah, who do you have in your flex, Nicholas? John Brown or Sterling Shepard?
Oh,
If it's a full point PPR, I'd go Shepard. Otherwise, I'd probably go John Brown.
I like Shepard because, like I said, Slayton isn't going to play well because he's going to get shadowed.
I like
I like
John
Shepard
Brown
this
this week. Ty guy likes John Brown.
Kenyon Drake or Melvin Gordon PPR?
Melvin Gordon.
Yes, I would go, if it's PPR, I would go Melvin Gordon as well. And if you guys haven't liked the video, also please subscribe. We release content daily. We're live 4 times a week. We'll be live tonight again to recap the games and also talk about tonight's game and tomorrow's game. We'll be live tomorrow before that game as well. So also,
And you're
I'll
either
be
going to see us
releasing
really
a-
happy or really upset.
Yeah,
Because the Steelers and
you
Eagles
might
are
not
both
see
before the
Ryan.
next
He
game.
might go to bed a little bit early tonight as well.
If the Eagles lose, I will.
If they lose, what if they do lose? I don't think they lose, but I will say real quick as well, I'll be releasing a waiver wire video to help you obviously win your leagues. I'll release that tonight, so you'll have access to that tonight, tomorrow morning. And let's go ahead and try to finish up here with some of these questions. Reed or Dwelly, which one would you play if you had to play one?
Why don't you take that one? Because one of your bets was Dwelly on the over for yards.
I think people are sleeping on Dwelly. I think honestly he's a solid play. He outscored Reed last week. Do I expect it to happen again? I don't know, but I do think 11.5 yards is pretty low for a guy that got over 50 yards last week. So I think that's a good bet in my opinion. How do you guys feel?
Ayuk.
I'd go Ayuk. Do you think Michael Thomas is in store for a big game this week?
I hope. I don't even have him in fantasy, but I like the guy. And he was out for a while.
Do you
So,
think
I
he's
mean,
going to
like,
be a
if-
top 10 play?
Yeah.
What would you say,
yeah.
Giggs?
Mm, it's tough. Um, mm,
Is that a
Ayuk.
yes? No, is Michael Thomas a top 10 play this week?
Yeah, play Michael Thomas.
Okay. Let's go into the next game here. We got two more games here we got to cover. New England, Baltimore. Who
What the
wins this game?
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Baltimore?
They
I think so, Baltimore. So now that Ingram's playing, do you like Dobbins or Edwards? How do you feel about those two?
I still like Dobbins. A decent amount, obviously a little less, but I don't know. I feel like he's done enough to garner the most carries in the backfield.
I think Baltimore is going to break the record for most rushing yards in a game.
You think so this week? Oh God.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I'd say Jordan Howard, and hopefully he falls in the end zone.
Yeah.
He's not going to have a good game. He'll probably have like 10 rushing yards, but hopefully one of them's at the goal line and he happens to fall in. What do you think? How do you feel about Hollywood or Andrews? Are they? Do you think that there are sits? If obviously with Andrews, if you're able to sit him, is he a definite sit? How do you feel about Hollywood?
I would have to check. Is Gilmore playing?
I'm not sure. I don't. Let me see. Stephen Gilmore. I'm not sure. I didn't see returns to practice. He's questionable. I haven't seen anything officially, but he did have limited practice this week. So questionable going in tonight.
I don't know.
Who were you starting from New England then? Anybody?
Jacoby Myers. I guess I don't know if you're starting him actually.
What do you start any? What about Cam? Do you feel good about Cam or?
I feel
You think he's
solid
like-
about Cam. I don't know if I feel good about him.
You think he's like who would you rather play, Drew Lock or Cam?
Cam.
Drew Lock.
Ooh. Do you think Cam is a top 15 play?
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt or Antonio Gibson? I'd go Kareem Hunt. Are we going to be unanimous about this or anybody disagree?
Yeah.
So go Kareem Hunt. I think he's a really solid play this week. I think Cleveland just runs the ball, runs the shit out of the ball, runs it down Houston's throat. That's what I think in this game. And let's go ahead and talk about the last game here. That's going to be Chicago versus Minnesota, baby. Well, yeah, Chicago versus Minnesota because Chicago is home. Mark Andrews, Rager, or Dobbins in PPR. Pat's really good against tight end. Yes, I would not start Andrews. I'd start Dobbins, personally. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I agree.
Dobbins.
Fire him up. Let's go ahead into this last game. So, if you're desperate, do you start Ryan Null with Montgomery being out? Do you think he's an okay play?
I guess it's what level of desperate? Like,
well, let's say the last question that we had is Alfred Morris and Jordan Howard.
I'd start Null over those two. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agreed. So, and we kind of already talked about this. We don't think Dalvin Cook's going to be RB1 this week, like the official leading scorer at the running back position. Do you think he's going to be at least top 5 though?
I could see him not being top 5 to be honest with you, because I like a lot of running back matchups.
You got it. No problem. Thank you for hanging out. Also, if you haven't, please like this video, subscribe. We'll be live 4 times a week. We'll be releasing new videos every single day. Buy and sell, waiver wire, start and sits, all those kind of videos. We'll be releasing that throughout the week. We'll be doing our waiver wire video tonight. You'll be able to have access to that tonight, tomorrow morning, whenever you injury news, Yes. Any injuries, you can follow up with us on Twitter at Aspire Sports Show at Aspire Sports _ YouTube. Also, all of our social medias are in the description. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case may be. We're releasing articles on our website. We have two blogs. We're starting up our NBA blog because we have our analysts. Gigs, very big, very good at NBA. We'll be writing NBA. So if you guys like NBA, he'll be doing a bunch of articles on there. Thrive Fantasy, if you guys like daily fantasy, well, I guess it's not really daily fantasy. It's player props. If you like player props, descriptions below. Use code Aspire. Noah Fant, Dallas Goddard. I think it's going to be pretty much unanimous here. Noah Fant. Noah Fant's a really good play this week. So let's go ahead and continue on with our last game here. What do we think about Darnell Mooney in this game? Do you think he's a solid flex option this week?
So I don't know.
I think he's a.
I guess if you're dead, I don't know.
Last week he had 11 targets. That's pretty dang good.
Here's a stat for you guys. Nick Foles has the 12th most pass attempts in the NFL, and he didn't play the first 2 games. So I think the last 3 games he's averaging over like 35 passes a game. So Mooney kind of jumped ahead of Miller, in my opinion. I think he's kind of taking that role as the number 2 guy. And we know Foles loves peppering Robinson with targets. If Robinson's not 100%, if he tweaks something during the game, it's going to be all Mooney. All those targets I think are going to go to Mooney. So I think this week it's a good matchup against Minnesota. I think he might be like fringe wide receiver 3. I think wide receiver 4 flex is proper for Mooney this week.
I agree with that. I think he's a really solid, definitely flex option this week, in my opinion. So if you need somebody, might be out there. If you need a flex, like especially if you're playing Jordan Howard, please, he better be off the waiver wire.
I feel that guy's pain. I was right there with you last week, man. Got us that touchdown. Let the good times roll.
And you're welcome, Vinny. You know, any other questions? We got just a few minutes here before game time. Please ask us any questions that you may have. We'll finish up here. Any bets that you guys want to kind of talk about? Any DFS plays that you want to mention before we wrap this thing up?
I think that Cardinals Bills. I think that ends up being a really high scoring game. I took the over in that. I mean, it's set at 55.5, which is a lot, but I'm still taking the over. And I'm a homer, so I think the Eagles cover today.
All right. What about you, Gigs?
Just gonna rattle off some of my favorite plays for FanDuel today. If people are actually still setting a lineup 6 minutes before kickoff, if you want to tinker, guys, tinker your way into some money. I like Devontae Parker at 6,000. I like Stephon Diggs at 7,900. I like Chase Claypool at 6,100. I like Juju at 6,400. I like Deontay Johnson 5,700. You see what I'm doing here? Go steal it. Robert Woods at 7,200. Book it. John Brown 5,600. Great for tournaments. Book it. And then my guy this week, who I think is going to be wide receiver 1, and I don't think anyone sees this coming, is Hopkins. I really like Hopkins at 8,600 this week. I think he's going to have a bounce back week, and I think Kyler Murray is going to pepper him with targets. So that's just a quick rundown of some of my favorite plays for FanDuel this week. No. Well, no, because
like
Edmonds.
Anything happens to Drake today, Edmonds is a really solid play for the rest of the season. I'd rather have him over Gaskin.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to just rattle off a couple of my favorite bets, player props going into the games today. I'm going to say Joey Burrow under 289 passing yards, 289.5, better on DraftKings. I also really like Ross Dwelly this week, 11.5 receiving yards. I like the over for that. I also like Drew Brees to go over 269.5 passing yards in this game as well. And let's go ahead and one last one here. I like Austin Hooper to catch over 2.5 receptions. So some of my favorite plays, there's a bunch that I also have. I have a lot more, but I'll be looking at the games tonight. We'll create a parlay for the people tonight as well. And make sure if you're still watching this video, a lot of people have tuned out because they're obviously going to watch the games right now. If you haven't, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel where we release new content daily, go live 4 times a week. And we're here to help you win your bets. There will be a waiver wire video tonight to help you decide who to pick up this week, who to drop. And that about does it. So honestly, we appreciate every single one of you tuning into the show today. If there's no other questions, any final takes from you guys? Anything else?
No, go Birds.
I want to say shout out to all of our fans. Thank you for joining us. We
Indeed.
appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thank you all. And
Good luck, guys.
that being said, yeah, good luck. Hopefully, we definitely gave you some good advice today. It was a long show, jam-packed with a bunch of information. We'll be back tonight at 7:20 to kickoff, recap and everything. So thank you for hanging out and have a great day. Go out and win. Go Steelers.